Will kick off to start the game. John Shepard Smith back deep to receive. Javier Arce Ramirez's kickoff. He'll take it at the 9-yard line. Trying this Davidson sideline is across the 30, breaking tackles to the 40. And Shepard Smith drags tacklers all the way out near midfield where he's finally brought down. A flag is down back near the 20-yard line of the Davidson sideline, however.
Imagine that, a flag on a kick. We see him all the time. Now, the kick was really short. I don't know whether that was by design or if he just mishit it. But how many missed tackles did we see along the way? I'll try not to do too much ranting about the poor fundamentals of tackling.
That's 1, 2, 3. I mean, he's they dragging guys.
Today the athletes want to throw their bodies against the ball carrier. Wrap him up!
Now, it doesn't hurt Jacksonville in the long run. Thanks to the holding called on Davidson, they'll have to start at their own 10-yard line.
I'm almost at the point where I just put the football on the 25 and start and get rid of kickoffs. We worry about them being dangerous, a lot of injuries.
Oh, no doubt the most dangerous play in football.
But the other thing is there's always a flag.
Yeah. Tyler Phelps, he's the starting quarterback. They've run a couple of different ones out there this season for the Wildcats. The freshman from Pensacola Beach, Florida, the southpaw, will get the nod here this afternoon. He'll hand off to Wesley Duggar on first down, and Duggar plows his way into the line of scrimmage, and there's not much running room for him there. Jacksonville, defensively, we know that they are improved this year in a Wildcats offense that is certainly trying to find improvement as well this season. And Phelps throws the ball pretty well, so we'll see if he slings it around, completing just 21% of he's completing 30 of 48 passes on the year. That's 31 for 49 there as he quickly zips one out to the left side. It's bring up a 3rd and short for Davidson. That one complete to Will Wicks.
Well, the Wildcats would rather throw it than run it. I mean, that's their preference. They start 3 wideouts and a tight end, just a lone back, and that puts a lot of pressure on the quarterback. He's got to be able to throw it, but he also has to have the escapability when things are breaking down.
Hit in the backfield on a 3rd and short, and Jacksonville stops Davidson. There were a handful of Dolphins back there, including Trevor Tofano and big Mike Williams leading the way, and Jacksonville forces a 3-and-out on the first possession.
Some unblocked Dolphins there, and maybe they had the Wildcats a little confused. JU runs, basically 3 linemen, 3 linebackers, and they have the bandit who you don't know where he's going to line up.
So punting are the Wildcats, and a low end-over-end punt from Michael Matthews is fielded by Wade Benton at the Davidson 47-yard line, and that's where Jacksonville will start on offense on their first drive.
The beauty about starting where they're starting now, great field position, is your entire playbook is now open. They like the script plays, of course, but I would think that you might take another look at your script because you weren't expecting to have the football in their territory, but every play now is a possibility that they can run.
Last week, Jacksonville scored long touchdowns in their first 2 offensive plays of the game. We'll see how this week's goes. Jamal Adjama, he was dynamic for the Dolphins a week ago. 114 yards on his first 2 carries, but he gets just 2 on his first carry of the afternoon here. And Rylan Wells, he is the operator of this offense. The senior transitioned almost seamlessly from the pass-happy Kerwin Bell offense to this spread option attack of Ian Shields.
He can run it, he can throw it, and he's a smart guy. First play, there may have been some confusion. That didn't look smooth. Let's put it that way. When the Dolphins are running it right, it's a smooth-looking operation.
Play action underneath. Simpson inside the 40, runs over a tackler at the 30. He's got a first down and more, a gain of 15.
Well, the first play just simply set that play up. You had the Wildcats chasing the ball on the other side of the field, and Wells' nice slick job of ball handling. Short pass, big gain.
That play has been run 3 times now by Jacksonville this season, and it's been a big gainer every time. Keenan Simpson, who was called an underrated player for this, unsung hero perhaps, for this Jacksonville offense on the local radio yesterday, gets another touch and plows it down inside the 30-yard line, down to the 26, a gain of 4.
They're mixing it up pretty nice. You've had the short pass, you've run it up the gut, and you've had some runs on the outside. So a nice mixer trying to get the Wildcats. They run a 4-3 defense, trying to get them a little uneasy and probably have them guessing a little bit. 2nd
down and 6. Wells under center. Running the option look right side. Wells will just keep it himself and stumbles down across the 25-yard line. The nose of the ball resting 2 yards shy of a first down.
A good job when you consider that could easily have been a 1 or 2 yard loss, and he got some positive yards out of it. Again, not looking smooth on these option plays, though. They're lacking something right now. Maybe Davidson is doing something.
I think they're covering him pretty well, too.
I think that, and maybe that's it. Maybe Davidson's doing a little something to get them off track.
3rd and 2. Wells again trying to evade the tackler, and he is not able to. Slung down from behind by Thomas Sykes, the senior. And he'll pick up his second tackle for a loss this year, and it's 4th down for Jacksonville in decision time in this part of the field. Offense staying on the field, it looks like. Another look at that tremendous defensive play by the veteran defensive lineman.
Well, the Wildcats had somebody wide to take the pitch guy, so Wells really caught sort of between the rock and the hard place. So Davidson doing a nice job defensively of eliminating some of the options.
Jacksonville this year, 6 of 11 on 4th down conversions. They will not get this one. Too many Wildcats there. They swallow up Adjuma, and Jacksonville turns it over on downs.
You clip that tape right there. That's how you play the triple option. I mean, he was smothered, and he's also limping.
Not a good sign for Jacksonville. Jamal Adjuma slow exiting the field after 3 to 4 white shirts all grabbed him and dragged him down.
Yeah, he's
a loss of 1 on the last 2 plays of that drive for Jacksonville.
Yeah, Jacksonville's run the ball well, but Davidson right now looks like they know what they're doing, and Adjuma's going to have some attention because he was limping badly. The only good news out of that is Jacksonville has got some good running backs. They've got some depth there.
Handoff on 1st down, Duggar left side, and he is met in the hole by Trevor Tufano for a gain of just 1. There's Tyler Phelps. We mentioned him at the top, but didn't get a chance to highlight him. He is certainly a good passer, a southpaw, something you don't see a ton, David, lefty quarterbacks. It feels like there are fewer and fewer these days.
That's absolutely right. And by the way, he's one of 13 Floridians on the Davidson roster. 4 of those Floridians come from Northeast Florida, where Jacksonville is what we call the first coast.
Incomplete as he slung it out to the right side, underthrown. Iman Smith, the closest man to that football, nearly had another interception with the senior safety.
Iman already has 3 this year and among the nation's leaders.
3rd down and 9 for the Wildcats, who featured 3 wide receivers in their starting lineup. Interesting note, their left tackle was a backup tight end last year, bulked up from 254 pounds to 280 pounds. Nick Nolting, another one of those Florida natives.
I've always dreamed of being told, we need to fatten you up some, so let's feed you more.
Phelps escapes pressure deep down the sideline, and it is incomplete. A little too far for the intended target. Trying to hook up with Isaiah Anthony, who was streaking down the sideline. And for the second consecutive series, Davidson goes 3 and out.
So far, he went right off the screen. So anyway, so far the offensive have struggled in a game that we thought, or I still think, is going to be fairly high scoring. Both these teams could put up the points, but starting this ball game, the offenses have not been very effective. Don't you agree that JU, they don't seem to be smooth yet?
No, there's not a flow to anything, and I think you have to tip your cap to the Davidson defense thus far for just doing something that not really any defenses since Mercer in the opener have been able to do to Jacksonville, and that's even knock them off the rhythm slightly.
Right. The last 3 games, JU's almost had no problem, running the ball, and you could tell that flow. But so far, and we're very early, obviously, 5 minutes into the game, but it's a stop-start and not very pretty or effective.
C.J. Lewis calls for a fair catch and makes it at his own 42-yard line, where Jacksonville will get the ball on offense for the second time today. Again,
great field position for the Dolphins, and again, it certainly opens up the playbook. The last possession, their first possession, the playbook was wide open, and I'm not sure how much of it they try to get into. So let's see if they take a different approach this time. Maybe throwing something downfield to try to get the Wildcats to back up a little bit, because they have been smothering the option.
Jacksonville went under center pretty much exclusively on that first drive. They'll now operate from the pistol I formation. Wells, dive play. Urban Riley, huge hole up the middle, and he slips down after he crosses midfield, but a gain of 11 and a first down for Riley.
Well, we told you that there's some depth at running back, and Adjama dinged up on that last series. We don't know. We'll get a report later on what his situation is, but there's a good example. Riley comes in. I know we talked to Coach Ian Shields about his running back and their depth, and he says he's got 3, if not 4, that he feels like he can count on.
1st and 10 from plus territory. Purnell Rattray is swallowed up on a nice defensive play by the strong safety Preston Grace, who comes sliding in there to stop Rattray after just a 1-yard pickup.
Well, they've played that option well so far. I mean, it's a small sample, but they are managing to have the options covered up, all of them, and that's going to put some heat on Rylan Wells. He's going to have to make some better decisions, perhaps, and be a little bit smoother.
That's a look at the starting lineup for this Davidson defense, which has done well so far. Wells goes off right tackle and gains just a couple. Keeps the forward progress going and sets up a 3rd down and about 5.
You'd like to have a little bit better situation than 3rd and 5, but this is a big play offense, even though a lot of it's on the ground. So this is certainly manageable for the JU Dolphins. But I don't think they want to see their first 2 series strike out.
Option look left side. Wells. He's going to be close.
I don't think I would be surprised if he's paid it. Like you said, he's going to be close. But again, give Davidson credit.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all over the option.
James Boyle stopped Wells just shy of that first down. And for the second time today, Jacksonville is going to keep the offense on the field on 4th down. They're now 50% on the season, 6 for 12, after going unsuccessful on their first attempt here this afternoon.
They've had 2 minus yardage plays, so Davidson is capable of getting through there, and I believe...
Dive play, Simpson breaks through! He's going to go into the end zone, but a flag is down at the line of scrimmage.
Well, clearly you could see 2 men moving for JU, so that one's coming back. We had confusion on the play, 2 different guys shifting, and that's a no-no. If you watch it on the left side, well, we couldn't see from that camera angle, but
boy, that's a shame too, because obviously it has no effect on the play.
Yeah.
2 guys shifting. It's a great run, perfectly executed by Jacksonville, minus the fact that they didn't get set, and so that erases a long touchdown and makes it a more difficult 4th and 6.
Well, both guys were on the left side, and they both were backing up.
Back at their own 43-yard line. And whistles will stop this one. Jacksonville wants to talk it over. They'll call time out, and we will step aside as well. Jacksonville going forward on 4th down when we return in a defensive struggle early here in Jacksonville.
DirecTV has been rated #1 in customer satisfaction over cable for 17 years running. But some people still like cable, just like some people like banging their head on a low ceiling, drinking spoiled milk, camping in poison ivy, getting a paper cut, and having their arm trapped in a vending machine. But for everyone else, there's DirecTV. For #1 rated customer satisfaction over cable, switch to DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
So now Jacksonville comes out of the timeout lining up to punt on a 4th and 6. Now the punter is the quarterback, Rylan Wells, but he will boot it away. A high spiraling kick that forces a fair catch to be made inside the 10-yard line, and a nice boot to set up deep field position.
And a good kick. You give him an A+ for that. You want to pin him back inside the 20 and forcing a fair catch on the 10. Now let's see if Davidson can go 90 yards. That's a tough task.
For an offense that hasn't even gotten a first down yet on this Jacksonville defense that struggled last season but is certainly under new coordinator Alan Darlin, and some position changes found some new life, especially taking away the football. They've nearly intercepted as many passes this season as they did all of last year. Phelps has time deep down the middle of the field, has a man, but it's intercepted by C.J. Lewis at the 45-yard line.
Well, when you pass against the Dolphins now, you're risking a lot because it's an interception machine that Coach Ian Shields and his defensive staff have put together. These guys, that starts with good coverage and good ball skills.
David, can I get a little credit for bringing up the interceptions right before the interception is thrown there?
An attaboy for you. Good job there, young man. Good job.
Matches last year's season total, the 9th interception of the year for Jacksonville, the first of the season for the sophomore C.J. Lewis. And a quick change for Jacksonville on offense. They'll take over at the 45-yard line.
The ball a little bit underthrown, and it could have been one of those throw it up and let your guy beat the other guy, but the Davidson receiver had no chance there.
Wells rolling right. He's just going to keep it inside the 40, inside the 30. Rylan Wells. Touchdown, Jacksonville. 45 yards on one play.
Well, they have been struggling with the option. Rylan Wells figured out a way to solve the problem, keep it himself, although he's kept it himself. But that time, he made the cut, planted the right foot, and when he made the cut, he saw a lot of daylight.
So effortless does Rylan Wells look like when he's running. Never looks like he's sprinting, does he?
No.
But just look at the separation.
Yep. Oh, he's got those long strides. Carried the football a little bit like a loaf of bread, as we used to say. I'm sure one of the coaches may point that out.
4th rushing touchdown of the season for Rylan Wells, and Javier Arce Ramirez tacks on the point after. And it took significantly longer than last week, David, but Jacksonville has struck first with 7:16 remaining in the first quarter. 7-0 Dolphins.
I'm so in love with you. Whatever you want to do is all right with me.
Coke Zero is now Coke Zero Sugar, with great Coke taste. Some people were excited to hear the news, some were skeptical. So we're not going to have the star of the show you're watching come out and say, "You'll love it." No special jingle written by this week's hottest pop star. No famous internet celebs who happen to be holding the label just so. Okay, maybe just one little pour shot. The only thing that will make you believe Coke Zero Sugar has great Coke taste is trying it yourself. Ice cold Coke Zero Sugar. Try one today.
Here we go. Rylan Wells just punched it in from 45 yards out. A quick change after Jacksonville gets the first takeaway of the afternoon, and the Dolphins have a 7-point advantage on the scoreboard.
And let's give the coaches some credit. Great play call. The way Davidson had been over-pursuing the option, well, that time Wells very cleverly, the option's going right. Well, he fakes all of that, and then when he turns left, they had over-pursued, not many people on the backside, and he strided his way for the first touchdown of the game.
Shepard Smith from his own goal line takes it out across the 20. Rylan Wells, he can run the ball. He ran the ball for over 100 yards in a game 4 different times last season. Hasn't done that yet this year, but hasn't been asked to do that as much this year, and a large part of that is due to that running back depth that you referred to earlier, David. They just have more horses in the backfield with him.
Right, and ideally you don't want to run your quarterback any more than you have to. More chance of injury, and you've got the running backs, but you're right, he can run it. You know, the key to Rylan Wells' success, he's a really, really good athlete.
Mm-hmm.
And not all quarterbacks are necessarily outstanding athletes. They have an arm, and maybe they aren't athletic, but he is a good athlete.
Hand off to Keelan Brown, one of the local products from the Jacksonville area playing at home here today. Attended Oak Leaf High School out in Orange Park, and he Takes his first carry off the right side. Solid pickup of 6 on first down.
Did not want to go down. His legs kept churning.
On their own 28-yard line. Phelps trying to bounce back after that interception, his second of the year. Or excuse me, that was his first career interception. I stand corrected. Quick throw out to the left side, and it's caught by the tight end Luthen, who's able to take it across the 30-yard line, and that's enough for a first down. The first down of the ball game for Davidson.
Well, again, Davidson right now has got to figure out they've got to have some balance, because I don't believe they can consistently run it at JU and succeed. I don't think they can throw it. We talk about balance too much, I think, but in Davidson's case, I think they're going to have to keep mixing it up, keep JU off stride.
Phelps down the seam. Is that a catch? No, in and out of the hands of Pat Tabor. That was almost an incredible reception, but 2 flags in, and this, I imagine, is going to be a pass interference call.
I'm not going to question whether it's pass interference. The flags came late, and they came from everywhere. As we watch it on replay, trying to see exactly.
Yeah, it looks like the linebacker Wakely might have got there a little early, started pulling down Pat Tabor, who's another Jacksonville native. A 15-yard penalty gives Davidson a second consecutive first down. And this is now the best field position they have had on the day. They're knocking on the door of midfield, the 49.
Yeah, Tabor, by the way, out of Atlantic Coast High School, a freshman, not a big freshman, and not big in stature, but respected for his hands, and nice catch, or nice effort.
Brown tries the right side and is stonewalled. Tofano, the middle linebacker, came in. He is one of the top tacklers on this team and showed why there. His 3rd tackle for a loss this season.
You know, when you talk about Stefano with Coach Shields, he almost lights up because he talks about Stefano being that instinctive player, that the kind of guy you really love to coach. He loves to play, and he just instinctively understands the game.
They'll say no gain on the play. 2nd and 10. Phelps again from the gun. Zone read. Hit as he throws. Finds a man, Jarris Scott, inside the 40-yard line. And another first down to another Jacksonville native.
Jarris Scott, now he has got pretty good size. I was just checking. 6'3", 198, 200 pounds. And a senior, by the way.
That's a 14-yard pickup and a first down. They'll snap it again quickly, rolling the pocket left for Phelps. Phelps going deep down the left sideline, a little underthrown, and it ends up over the head of the intended wide receiver, Will Wicks, out of bounds.
Yeah, I think it would have been uncatchable anyway, but if there's any concern from a JU perspective, there was absolutely no pressure. Phelps rolled out, and he had plenty of time. I don't know why. He looked like he almost rushed it a little bit and left his feet. He could have planted and perhaps made a better throw.
Perhaps just being a young quarterback, still learning how to feel those things out.
You're probably right about that, but he certainly didn't have anybody breathing down his neck.
Brown makes a cut, takes it down to the 35, where Griffin Garland comes in to make the stop for Jacksonville. A gain of just 2, and it's 3rd down and 8.
I feel like I want to buy Garland, like a soft drink or something, because fundamentally, see what he did? He got his shoulder in there.
Oh, yes, he did. Grabbed cloth, brought the legs, everything they teach you.
I'm thrilled to death when I see the fundamentally sound tackle, because it's a dying art.
Davidson, 28% on 3rd downs on the year. They are 0 for 2 today. Phelps to throw on 3rd and 8. Has time underneath, underthrown, and incomplete. Looking for Luthen again. And on 4th down and 8, what does Davidson do here? They're going to trot the punt team out.
Interesting defensive play that time by Jacksonville. You might have thought they might blitz, but they went with a 4-man rush, which tells me they think their 4 guys can put plenty of pressure. Mm-hmm. They don't need help, because if there was ever a time to blitz, it seemed to me like that was a good one.
Matthews to punt for the 3rd time today. Low end-over-end kick, and Jacksonville's just going to get away from it. The goal was to pin the Dolphins deep in their own territory. They were successful. Jacksonville's going to have to start from their own 5-yard line when we return. 4:11 remaining in the first quarter. Jacksonville with a 7-point lead.
When you look at the Mercedes-Benz GLC, with its high-tech cameras and radar, contemporary cockpit, 360-degree network of driver assist technologies, and sporty performance. What's most impressive about the GLC? All depends on your point of view. The 2018 GLC, starting at $40,050. Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing.
Samar has had a rough life. His awkward phase is only half over. His mother decided to homeschool him, but the bullying only got worse. He's neither right nor left-handed. But Samar feels like a champion because he's eating tasty, protein-powered, wonderful pistachios.
Here's a look at the Pioneer Football League standings heading into today. Jacksonville, one of two teams, along with Davidson, that hadn't played those two games yet coming into today. So a chance for either Davidson to move right back into contention or Jacksonville to establish themselves with the heavyweights currently at the top of those standings. You saw three teams that are 3-0, Drake, San Diego, and Campbell, as Jacksonville runs for just 1 yard on first down.
And they've got San Diego coming up in a couple of weeks.
Yes.
So if they can stay unbeaten, that will be a big game for both teams.
Play action. Wells rolling to his right from his own end zone, and he completes to Adjuma out to the 25, and he's brought down just shy of the 30.
And if you're a Jacksonville fan, that's a good play for several reasons. One is that Adjuma back on the field, running downfield. He got dinged up earlier, and that would indicate that apparently he's going to be okay. That's basically the same play that Wells scored on the long touchdown run, except this time he threw it because they had three guys over there to cover that side.
Keaton Simpson picks his way out across the 35-yard line to the 37, an 8-yard pickup on the dive play for the B-back Simpson.
Well, the Dolphins have had some success going right up the gut, and I think you have to give the interior of the Jacksonville offensive line some credit. They're apparently moving the Wildcats out of the way.
Simpson will get it again, and he'll get a first down and more. Breaking tackles into Davidson territory. Simpson finally cut down at the 31 of Davidson.
It's a good run. Simpson's not the back that's going to run away from you. If you'd had one of the speed merchants, he might could have gotten away. But it's an outstanding run, broke the tackle. As you watch him come right up the middle, you're not going to arm tackle him, as we see a couple of guys try to do it. Well, there's at least two, if not three, who got their arms out, and he went through them like he was going through a revolving door.
So Simpson has had a couple of long runs. One of them called back. It was a touchdown earlier in the game. Called back on an illegal shift. Pitch play left side, Rattray. And he is knocked down at the 26. A short gainer. About 6 yards on first down for Pernell Rattray, who's a load if he gets a head of steam behind him.
You know, the Davidson defense on the corners has been very, very solid. It's up the middle where they seem to be the softest, and we'll see if JU will go back to testing that, because so far they've had success running it up the middle.
2nd and 4, misdirection, and Lamar Washington's first carry of the day. Dragging tacklers down close to the 20-yard line. This is going to be very close to a first down. Appears he'll be 1 yard shy, 3rd and 1.
You know, I don't know how talented Davidson's defensive players are, but I'll tell you what, they seem to be very well disciplined. They play smart. They seem to maintain their positions. They try to fulfill their assignments. They're not trying to over-pursue or anything.
3 new assistants on the defensive side of the ball, part of 5 new assistants for Davidson this season as Paul Nichols overhauled his coaching staff, and Rylan Wells just keeps it himself off the left side, enough to move the chains.
Well, and I'm not trying to be funny or cute or anything else, but when you're 1-32 all-time in league play and you're 7-42 all-time, then some changes have to be made, and changes, making the staff changes may have produced some dividends. They've already got they're playing probably better than they've played any time during Nichols.
Play action down the sideline. Mashawn Sobers, touchdown Jacksonville.
What a good throw. What a good throw. Right on the money. Good play call. Good catch. And he got rid of the ball so quickly, you can't really say much about protection, but that was a quick release.
Rylan Wells has now accounted for a touchdown on the ground and one through the air. The play action froze the linebackers and the safeties just long enough. Sobers with the separation, And the third touchdown catch of the year from the sophomore from Alexandria, Virginia.
He took a drop back two, made the turn, planted, and boom, made a very nice throw into the corner of the end zone.
And Arce Ramirez, as true can be, on the point after touchdown. And after the sluggish start for the Jacksonville offense, they have now punched it in their last 2 times they have had the ball on offense. David, it's just a matter of, what do you think? Was it just they figured out what Davidson is doing defensively?
I think so. They were trying to run the option, and when they were going wide, Davidson was stopping it. And we kept talking about how well they're covering the corners. Then they found some success up the middle, and now all of a sudden they've been able to, off of that, develop a passing game and hit some big plays. So, one of the things, we talk about this, and it's a compliment to Coach Ian Shields. He came into JU, and he's the flex bone, the triple option, the wishbone, all of that. He's lumped in with that group of coaches who, run. But one of the things we've noticed, and part of it is adapting to the talent that he inherited, but in talking with him, privately, I think you're always going to see him mix in more passing than you're going to see from coaches at Navy and Air Force and some other schools. And it really makes the option hard to stop if you have a quarterback who can throw and a coach who's willing to throw it. I don't think we'll ever see JU
Check,
under
1, 2,
Shields
3,
throwing the ball
1,
more than
2,
15
3.
or 20
Sarah
times.
Wicks.
But that's a lot for this type of offense.
I don't think Wells has missed on a pass yet today as Arce Ramirez kicks it deep, 5 yards deep into the end zone, and a knee will be taken by Davidson. That last touchdown drive for Jacksonville, they showed quick strike ability. The one before that, one play, 45 yards. That time they went 95 yards in 8 plays, capped off with the Rylan Wells to Michon Sobers 18-yard touchdown strike.
And they did it with runs up the middle and fairly long passes. So we're going to punch you in the nose, or we're going to dance you to death. So a good drive there. I'm sure, again, that's one of the drives. You put that on tape, and you look at that when you want to feel good about your football team, how well your players play and how well your coaches had them prepared, and the play selection.
Davidson coming off an 8-play drive in which they amounted to no points, trying to get something going, setting up a screen for the tight end Luthen, and Luthen is rumbling across the 40-yard line and is finally brought down from behind by Tefano just shy of the 45.
Well, Davidson's got to find some ways of mixing it up and catching JU off guard. I don't think Davidson can punch JU in the mouth and win this football game.
Quick throw off the hands of Wicks, incomplete.
Just way too high and a little bit behind him. I don't think they can beat them physically with talent. I think they're going to have to put in some deception. And certainly the play to the tight end we just saw is a good way to confuse the defense. And JU doesn't have a great defense. JU's got to win with offense and a defense that creates turnovers. They're very good at that. But I don't know that play after play, JU's defense will stop a lot of really good offenses.
A run to the left side for Duggar, the freshman from Henrico, Virginia, who loses a yard on the play. Mike Williams again, who has been one of the biggest impact guys for Jacksonville this year, the graduate transfer from Villanova, giving the Dolphins something they have traditionally not had up front, and that is sheer size, David, as we get ready for a 3rd and 11.
And Crandall Maines was happy about that play as well. He was right in the middle of it, too, and he's another big one.
Will Davidson snap one more time before the end of the quarter? Does not appear that they will do so. The clock runs out on the first quarter of play here in Jacksonville, where the Dolphins have staked a 14-0 lead over Davidson as the Dolphins try to win their 4th in a row. We'll be back with a report on just how hot it is down there today when we return.
It's been 60 years since I came up here to watch football. I've seen a hurricane that rocks and a tide that rolls. I've seen hustle, perseverance, and heart. I've seen a bowl of cotton that's anything but soft. Some call it hard work, determination, or grit. I call it blimp-worthy.
He once 3D printed a 3D printer. He is the most interesting man in the world, and he's building a statue for the most interesting fan of college football.
Every time I raise my hand, I start a wave. I propose to my wife using a giant foam finger. Who's number one? This guy. Where do you go, about 6'7"?
Your statue could be in the College Football Hall of Fame.
Stay thirsty, mis amigos.
I'm currently down on the turf field where it may be October, but it does not feel like fall at all. With the air temperature of 89.3 degrees Fahrenheit and the heat index of 102.8 degrees Fahrenheit, it is hot. And for the football team, they have lots of water, but still, they are struggling. For the JU Dolphins, luckily, it's just an every single day playing here at the DB Millen Field. Back to you, Scott.
Thank you, Sarah. Boy, you saw that, David. 102 is the heat index down on that turf field. It is well over 90 degrees today as a holding penalty is called on Davidson, declined on what was a 3rd down and 10, so they will punt again. But I know I grew up here, and I played football in this kind of weather. I don't care how much they claim that if you've been a part of it, then it's something that you can get used to. I don't think you can ever get used to it.
I agree. And by the way, in case you've never been down here, that 102 doesn't tell you about the humidity.
Yes.
Which makes it feel like 202. It is suffocating at times. I've seen many worse days than today.
Yes.
So it's by far not a horrible day, but trust me, it's hot down there.
Yes, it is.
And when you're wearing that uniform and you're out there banging and running, it's a test of their conditioning.
Another flag on that punt. So a roughing the kicker penalty on Jacksonville will give Davidson an automatic 1st down. And something that was certainly an issue, we spoke to Coach Ian Shields last week, the penalties. He said, we just got to be smarter. And that is a case in which you got to know to pull yourself up when you're approaching a kicker. You can't give a referee any opportunity, no matter how hard you hit a guy, to throw a flag there.
Well, they've come close to blocking some punts.
Mm-hmm.
And
they did block one last week.
And today they've come close. They put a hard charge on, and the difference between blocking a kick and roughing the kicker is a very, very small number.
Duggar picking his way down to the 30-yard line. A gain of 10, best rush of the day for Davidson, and another 1st down.
Interesting run. Get behind a big old offensive lineman. Keep your hand on his back. So you literally have a big guy leading the way and clearing out blockers and make a nice gain.
They're down at the 30-yard line. Best field position that Davidson has had all day, thanks to the roughing the punter penalty that kept this drive alive. And the ball is on the ground, and Jacksonville recovers. Harrison Redormer comes up with the fumble recovery, and between Phelps and Duggar, 2 freshmen, it appeared that neither of them knew who was going to keep the ball there.
Yeah, just a bad handoff exchange, confusion all around as we watch it from that side.
Duggar didn't want it. Phelps didn't want it. And Redormer said, thank you.
Duggar didn't know that the ball he'd been handed the ball. He's faking it in there. But anyway, nice recovery. And it makes up for a roughing the kicker penalty. Penalties are something that have hurt the Dolphins. And, they've got to clean that up a little bit. When they're facing top-notch competition, the penalties can be the difference between
deep
winning
throw
and
on
losing.
1st down. Nick Duke has it broken up. Nice defensive play made by Steven Spears, the senior from Woodstock, Georgia. Picked up his 4th pass breakup of the year right there. He was step for step with Nick Duke.
Yeah, Duke, a big man, 6'5", from Jacksonville, a local recruit. Coach Ian Shields and his staff.
And this one, the first incompletion of the game for Rylan Wells, just a little underthrown. On 2nd down, handoff, Ajima going right side, trying to stretch it to the corner. And he takes a beating as he goes down across the 35-yard line to the 37. A 7-yard pickup, and it'll be 3rd and 3.
Well, Ajima's got those big legs, 5'8", 190, his power legs. That's the way you take him down, is you hit him low and flip him.
And a flag is down at the 35-yard line, middle of the field. And a first quarter which featured just 3 combined penalties. We've already seen 3 here in the second quarter, and we have barely played a minute.
Well,
That'll go on the right tackle, holding on Zach Hughes, who is getting his second consecutive start at right tackle for the injured Robert Ritterhoff. And I don't even see where 56 is on that field.
Yeah, I'm always trying to, what they call holding, to see exactly what they're talking about. And I couldn't find the guy who was accused of doing the holding.
Yeah, the right tackle was nowhere to be seen on that play, but they decide that the holding was true. Option look from the 25, and the ball is on the ground for Jacksonville now. A break for the Dolphins as it just rolls harmlessly out of bounds, but Wells pitched it, and nobody saw it. The ball goes out all the way inside the 20-yard line, the 18, and it's going to be third and forever for Jacksonville now.
Well, Jacksonville's option has not looked good today, and we've been watching these Dolphins play all year, and they have been so smooth running the option. And all day today, it's hesitation. It hasn't been smooth, and we give Davidson a lot of credit. They are covering the quarters, and they're keeping some of the options covered up. Earlier, JU decided to go up the gut, and then we're throwing the ball downfield, and that was working. They've gotten away from that. Let's see what they do now.
Jacksonville needs to get to the 41, and they just call a QB draw, and Rylan Wells gets absolutely nowhere. Boo Jordan, the junior from Hagerstown, Maryland, sniffed that one out the whole way, and Jacksonville will have to punt after just a 1-yard pickup.
Yeah, Wells had nowhere to go. I mean, by the time he got ready to start running, there was already somebody all over him. So Davidson's playing good defense, and that's not something they've done. They've been okay, but they haven't been.
Mm-hmm. It's certainly the calling card of this team. If you want to make an apples-to-apples comparison, they held Marist to just 31 points when Jacksonville allowed the Red Foxes to score 37, and they were going in to score more. A punt is fielded by Wicks at the 49-yard line, and that is where Davidson will start on offense. The last two Wildcat drives have taken them into Jacksonville territory. They have not gotten any points out of them. They elected to punt from the Jacksonville 35 on one of them, and they fumbled from the Dolphin 30-yard line their last time with the football.
Well, the worst thing that could happen to you, by the way, when you try that rugby, I guess you call it the rugby-style punt.
Yes, that's what I would call it.
Okay, well, the idea of that is for it to hit the ground and bounce. Well, when that punt goes right to a returner, then it doesn't work out very well. That's not what you're trying to do, and so Davidson is put in wonderful field position.
And off right side, Brown finds a small crease and gains 2 yards on first down.
Again, you get these short backs with these big thighs and big legs, and they just keep them churning and pick up a couple of yards when they usually get that kind of pile like that. And certainly Brown, that was a case there for Brown.
Duggar was the back who fumbled the last time they had it. Brown starting this series in the backfield for Davidson. 2nd and 8. He'll get it again, trying the left side this time. And he is dragged down by C.J. Lewis across the 45-yard line. They'll spot him at the 44. It'll be 3rd and 5.
C.J. just sort of grabbed him and threw him down.
If it works, right? When I usually did that, it involved me on the ground underneath the player. Never had the luxury of just shedding him like that.
Like I said, it looks good on tape when it works. Come here like a rag doll. Boom.
3rd and 5 for a Davidson team that is yet to convert. Or they converted just 1 third down in the afternoon. Excuse me. They're 1 for 4. And they're not going to get this one. Again, Tufano, the leading tackler for Jacksonville today, stops Brown after a gain of just 1. And will the offense stay on the field on 4th and 4? Nope, they're going to bring the punting unit out again. And it has been an active afternoon thus far for Michael Matthews, who will punt for the 4th time already here in the first half.
You know, I would think that the Davidson's coaching staff, to be honest with you, is probably happy, or probably thinking 14-0 is maybe a little better than they imagined. So the last thing you want to do now is do something foolish and give JU anything quick. Hang in there. It's only 2 scores. Maybe we can get something going, but don't gamble on 4th down and foolishly give them great field position.
With 10:45 left, Jacksonville's going to start deep in their own territory, their own 7-yard line. Here's a look at some of the names that are familiar with the teams on the other side. Here's For Davidson, you see Pat Tabor and Jarris Scott, both from Jacksonville. We said their names already. They both have catches here this afternoon. 2 of the 4 Jacksonville natives for Davidson. And then for the Dolphins, Jaleel Roberts, the graduate transfer from Lenoir-Rhyne, calls Charlotte home. And, of course, Charlotte just south of Davidson, North Carolina. First down and 10. Jacksonville will run the football on first down with Keenan Simpson, who's been the most productive back of the day for Jacksonville. And he plows his way forward for a gain of maybe 3.
Yes, Davidson's about 20 miles north of Charlotte, but it could be 2,000 miles. Davidson is really a community that really is sort of self-contained. It doesn't consider itself part of Charlotte. It's a beautiful little community. And
play action again for Wells, deep down the right sideline, and it's caught by Sobers at the 35-yard line.
Well, the first thing I do on those is check for flags, don't see any, and a well-thrown ball. That ball was, we call it throwing it on a dime. I mean, he lofted it up there and hit him on the run, and good pass.
Out at the 36, that's a 26-yard pass completion, second catch of the day for Sobers, first down, and Simpson runs up to the 44.
Simpson has run the ball well today, and he's picking up big yardage, and he's had an opportunity to go up the gut and wide, and he's shown good running skills regardless of where he's asked to run.
Second down and 2 for Jacksonville. Dolphins have scored on 2 of their last 3 drives. Option look right side, pitch complete to Irvin Riley, who is cut down in the Davidson side of the 50, the 48-yard line, and the sticks will move again.
That's the best option play going wide that the JU has run today, and I think part of it is because they've forced Davidson now to quit stacking the corners, and that's what Davidson has been doing. They've been putting 8 to 9 guys up on the line of scrimmage, and they've been covered them wide.
We'll step aside as they tend to an injured Dolphin down on the field, 14-0.
Not every rivalry is a fair fight. Like Wendy's beef with the other guys. Well, they thaw out. Wendy's goes all out, serving fresh beef for nearly 50 years, which is why true hamburger fans side with the official hamburger of the NCAAF.
Steve Smith Sr., you ready to be a vendor? This job ain't easy. Those fans there, they're craving Dr. Pepper. Word is you lost a step.
Who said that?
Not me.
So why repeat it?
Because you just retired. Your name ends in senior.
Done.
Wow. Huh?
Check the replay, Larry. Wow. Guacamole?
You were showing amazing potential.
Let's go, Dr. Pepper. Hip. Let's go.
Jacksonville right guard Jake Dempsey was the injured Dolphin down. He was able to jog off under his own power, which is a good sign. And on first down, Jacksonville does not miss a beat running it to the right side. Keenan Simpson has been a monster today on the ground. He is averaging 14 yards a carry, and he picks up nearly 14 again on the ground that time to move the sticks for the Dolphins.
And most of it has been running between the tackles. Now, he's 5'7", but he's 205 pounds, so he is a load, a cannonball type of runner, and good for him.
An 11-yard pickup. Toss play, Irvin Riley. And just a shoelace away from busting that one even longer, but Riley takes it down the right sideline and nearly picks up a first down.
Well, Adjuma's back in the game, but he got nicked up early. But one of the things we talked with Coach Shields about was he's comfortable with 3-4 backs. He says that Adjuma is the best all-around back, but these other guys can get the job done, and we're seeing that now with Riley and Simpson taking the load.
First down, carry up the middle, and Simpson again just gashing the Davidson defense on a second down and short. He carries it all the way down inside the 20-yard line to about the 17. And Jacksonville trying to keep this game moving fast at this point.
Simpson got the bobblehead going like, hey, man, I am taking care of business. And he is indeed doing exactly that.
Ball is spotted at the 18-yard line. That was an 11-yard pickup.
Well, it'll be interesting. Well, like I said before the game, I think Davidson or Jacksonville would have been considered a 14, 17-point favorite in this ball game. If they punch it in here, it'll be interesting to see how Davidson reacts, because a 21-point lead would seem almost insurmountable. You never say never, but
never say never. And Jacksonville has been a first half team much more than a second half team this year. They have allowed teams to get on the scoreboard in the second half as Pernell Rattray takes it down to the 10-yard line, and that is close to another first down, second down and 2.
But if they get up 21-0, it'll interesting to see how the players react, if they keep their poise or they keep their effort. It'll be interesting to see what the coaches do. Do they all of a sudden maybe start trying to sling it downfield?
Simpson loses his helmet, goes into the end zone anyway. But is the play blown dead the second he loses the helmet? That's the question.
I don't know. We have not seen. There's been no signal for touchdown, and it may be that once the helmet comes off, the play's over. I do know that when you lose your helmet, the play is supposed to be blown dead.
Right, and they're spotting this ball shy of the end zone. Let's see here.
But if you lose,
ooh, boy, loses the helmet, and then the backside defender, Stephen Shank, helmet to the head. First and goal from the 1-yard line. Wells sneaks his way in. Touchdown, Jacksonville. Second rushing touchdown of the ball game for Rylan Wells.
That's a good rule. If you lose your helmet, the play is blown dead. Keep in mind, there's been times when players have lost helmets, and now they're running out in the open field without a helmet. But, as you watch that play, Simpson got hit hard, but it didn't look like anything that should have knocked his helmet off. Players have told me they think it's cool when their helmet goes off. And they don't quite strap them on as hard as well as they should. I'm not saying that's what Simpson did because I don't know. I'm just saying I've had players tell me that they have left their helmet where it might come off.
Helmet or no helmet, Jacksonville continuing to put it together on offense. An 11-play drive ends with that man, Rylan Wells, punching it in again, this time from 1 yard out. 21-0 Jacksonville.
They've been outstanding.
All right, here we go. Rylan Wells has accounted for all 3 touchdowns in this game, 2 rushing, 1 passing. And for, in my mind, maybe the most dynamic offensive player in this Pioneer Football League. He has done nothing different here this afternoon, continuing to put up eye-popping numbers, both on the air and through the ground.
Yeah, I haven't seen all the quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers in the Pioneer League, but it's hard to imagine anyone outperforming Wells. And it's more than just the numbers when you see how important he is to this Dolphins team.
Fielded at about the 10-yard line in a lane for John Shepard Smith out across the 30. And for Davidson, they'll start now trailing by 3 scores at their own 34-yard line with just under 7 minutes remaining in the second quarter. Now, what can you do differently if you're the Wildcats, who have got the ball to Jacksonville territory a couple times today? They just never gotten to the point where it feels like they're able to score.
Well, I don't mean that you just start winging it and abandon the run, but I think they've got to throw the ball more. I think right now Jacksonville is beating them at the line of scrimmage. And I don't know that whether or not Phelps can run the option, run a option type of offense. And I think they're going to have to throw it.
Brown on first down carries it for 3 yards through that A gap, out to the 38-yard line. Excuse me.
Now, they run a 3 wide receiver tight end formation, only 1 back. But they really haven't put the ball up in the air, but I think it's...
Phelps underneath and nearly intercepted by the big man, Bumpy McGee. He was dropped back in coverage from his nose guard spot on the tight end, Hunter Luthen, who we've already seen catch a successful screen once today, but that time it was broken up, and then a flag on Davidson as well will march them even further back. We'll see. I believe this was a holding call.
The ball was a little behind the tight end, and he got his hand on it and just sort of bobbled it and almost bobbled it right into the defender's hands.
Holding called on Davidson as they tried to roll it out. So Luthen tried to sell the block, slipped out late, and then that ball just went right through his hands. And off the chest protector and nearly into the hands of Bumpy McGee, who was that close to his first career interception.
You know, that would be a memory for a lifetime for Bumpy. Those tackles don't make many interceptions.
Phelps is going to run for it himself and picks up a first down out to the 38-yard line. Griffin Garland finally hammered him to the ground.
Actually, I think it's going to be third down because the penalty had put them back.
Oh, excuse me. Yes, you're right.
The penalty had put them back.
That actually moves them just back a little bit beyond where they were before that penalty.
Right.
Now, they were at the 38 after gaining 3 yards on that first down run.
Right. It looks like 3rd and 7 now. And, Phelps showed some running skill there, but I don't believe Davidson can make a comeback keeping the ball on the ground. I don't think they can run it well enough against the Dolphin defense.
Blitz from behind. Phelps batted up into the air and nearly picked off by Smith. He was trying to find Will Wicks, and Iman Smith has got to be kicking himself. He hasn't dropped many opportunities this year, already has 3 INTs, and should have had his 4th and his first touchdown as well there.
Yeah, you get a sense that Iman may have seen all of that green grass in front of him, could smell the touchdown, and just started taking off a little bit early before he actually caught the ball.
Matthews with a low end-over-end punt fielded by the up-back Benton at the 35-yard line, and he's able to get some positive yardage out to the 38, which is where Jacksonville will start on offense again, now under 6 to play in the second quarter. The Dolphins leading 21-0. And how about this, David? For Jacksonville in first halves this year, they have outscored opponents 120-46.
But in the second half,
they have been outscored 91-64.
Some of those obviously came when the Dolphins were, the second and third team was on there, and it didn't matter. But there have been at least 2 of the 4 games where the team was way down at halftime, the opponent, and they've come back enough to make it interesting when JU should have been playing better defense. So Coach Shields mentioned the other day, he said that we're working very hard on players keeping their poise and their focus, and he said, it's been a problem for us.
Handoff on first down to Jamal Adjama, who tried the dive, but it was sniffed out quickly. Good defensive effort that time from Davidson's Bryce Perry Martin, the sophomore defensive tackle.
Let me ask you, what's happened to the routine punt? We've seen more of this rugby-style mess today.
Yes, both sides.
Yeah, and I don't quite understand the advantage of it.
Whistles blow this play dead. I think it's exactly what you talked about earlier, David. It's if you don't have a guy that you can just crank one, as a false start is called on Zach Hughes, the right tackle. By the way, a note, Anthony Medlock, a redshirt freshman, is in at right guard for Jake Dempsey, who left this game earlier after being a little bit shaken up. But as far as the punting is concerned, I do think it's something along the lines of, if we get a guy who can't get that spiral that turns over and drives 50 yards down the field or whatever,
5.5 seconds of hang time.
Right, then you're going to go for one that bounces, and you hope that it gets a roll inside and ends up kind of picking up cheap yards on the ground, if you will. Wells picking his way across the 40-yard line, and he's finally hammered down at the 45. Stumbling forward is Rylan Wells on that entire run. Ryan Woods finally hammered him to the ground, but they erased the penalty yards and more. It'll be 3rd down and just 3.
Looks like he had his head on a swivel. He's running, that head is turning, picking up would-be tacklers and looking for holes and making cuts, and a good run by the Jacksonville quarterback.
Under center, Wells. Wells will give it up to Simpson. Simpson tries to push his way for a first down, and they're going to spot him right at the marker. It looks like this is going to be just enough for a first.
It looked like, from the angle I'm looking at it on our monitor here, that he picked it up. The spots, if the spot is where I think it should be, that's going to be a Jacksonville first down.
And now Simpson is shaken up. Trainer Doug Fry been a little bit busy here on this warm afternoon. I'm sure they're trying to keep guys hydrated already. But he's going to go out and take a look at Simpson's left leg. Man, there was a big pile of bodies at the conclusion of that play, David, and he was at the very bottom of it.
And don't tell him what's going on at the bottom.
We'll step aside. 4:09 remaining in the second quarter. All Dolphins here on homecoming.
Remember that accident I got in with the pole and I had to make a claim and all that? Is that whole thing still dragging on? No, I took some pics with the app and filed a claim. But you know how they send you money to cover repairs and...
It took forever to pay you, right?
No, I got paid right away. But at the very end of it all, my agent wouldn't even call you back, right? No, she called to see if I was happy. But if I wasn't happy with my claim experience, for any reason, they'd give me my money back. No questions asked. Can you believe that? No.
The claim satisfaction guarantee, only from Allstate. Switching to Allstate is worth it.
What's going on?
Just giving Brian a chance to refuel with a bowl of Chunky Mac soup. It's got 40% more meat, so he can do 40% more of the work around here.
This is crazy.
Tell me about it. You have no idea how hard this is.
New Chunky Max. We'll fill in while you fill up.
Keenan Simpson helped off the field. Did pick up a first down, so it's 1st and 10, and Wells is going to throw deep on first down, down the sideline. Jake Brito with a leaping catch, but he's out of bounds.
Well, that's one of those 50-50 balls. You have trust in your receiver that he can outfight the defender. Brito certainly did that, but obviously landed out of bounds. Now, keep in mind, in college, you only have to have 1 foot in bounds, but so that means both of them were out of bounds or on the out of bounds line at least.
There's Simpson. They're fitting him with a sleeve on that left knee. See if he'll be able to go back out there. He has been Jacksonville's best running back today. I'd love to see him back out there, I'm sure. But Brito has come on to replace him, and they nearly got a big gainer to him through the air on first down. Option look. Hauled in with one hand by Ajima. Ajima jets down the sidelines before being bumped out near the 40.
Well, again, that wide stuff is now working a little better because JU has had so much success running it up the middle and throwing the ball. So Ajima had a little running room, made the turn. You know, the problem with Simpson being dinged up, Ajima's back on the field, and, you know, and obviously he's okay, but he did get dinged up earlier. So in a perfect world, you'd probably like not to have him carry it too many times a day and just make sure the bruise or whatever.
That's a first down run. Now they'll feed it to Lamar Washington. His first carry of the ball game, good for a gain of roughly 3 off the left side.
Well, he's one of the backs that Coach Shields mentioned when I asked him about backs he had confidence in, and he mentioned that Washington was one that he felt like he's a freshman, but he's a redshirt freshman, so he's been in the program for 2 years and understands the system according to Coach Shields.
2nd down and 7. Wells keeps it himself. Wells again! Rylan Wells with one man to beat, cuts it back for a touchdown.
We were so complimentary of Davidson covering the outside that they've gotten beaten so much up the middle now that they've changed what they're doing. And that time, Wells, you're talking about picking your way through a defense. He looked at the wide man, and you could see him flock over there, and he makes a cut and then made his couple of cuts. That's an excellent run, and probably most people won't appreciate that run as much as they should.
Oh, my, that was a
he
thing
made about
of beauty.
He made about 3 decisions on the
wall going full
bam,
speed.
Bam, bam, on that one run. So excellent run by Riley Wells. I believe we got a little bit of an offside
I think
there.
he might have had a head start on that one. The end on the right side even hesitated a little bit. You just got to sell that. Just go all the way in.
Yeah, when you're so far offside, you look back and then keep on going. I mean, it was a...
Here's another look at that run, David, and it was,
Yeah, I mean, he's
look
really,
at this. Great cut, outruns the linebacker
and then makes
at
another
first,
one at the end.
breaks a tackle from the safety Grays, and then cuts back in to finish the run from 38 yards out. The 3rd rushing touchdown of the ball game for Rylan Wells, who has accounted for all 4 first-half scores for Jacksonville. And I will say that's a nice job by Sobers getting down there, not committing an illegal block, but basically screening Nate Campbell to corner enough to allow Wells to cut that one back.
I don't know who the offensive player of the week in the Pioneer League is going to be, but if it's not Riley Wells, then somebody's had one heck of a game
Yes.
elsewhere.
Yeah, they're going to have an unbelievable outing.
Right. He has put on a show today, throwing it and running it.
High snap put down by Nick Duke, and Javier Arce Ramirez makes it 28-0. Jacksonville, who continue to be an excellent first-half team this year. Really, outside of that opener against Mercer, there's not been a game this season in which Jacksonville has not felt good going into the locker room at halftime.
Yeah, and Coach Shields, by the way, says he's a little bit concerned that some of the second-half points that have been scored on JU, it was trash time. But there have been other situations where the opponent has come back and gotten 2 quick scores in the third quarter, for example, and made it and put some doubt. And he says that's a lack of focus. And, he thinks the effort's there. It's just a lack of focus. And he blamed it on youth a little bit.
Well, they're going to have another chance to learn from the same experience here today.
Well, jokingly, I guess it was last week, they were up like 37-7. And I said, if I'm Coach Shields, the message I give is we scored 37 in the first half, which means they could score 37 in the second half. Well, they almost did. They almost did. They came out and I think got 17 or 21 in the third quarter, and then added on another one in the fourth to at least make it respectable and put them within earshot. And I'll tell you what, I know there have always been crazy finishes, but it seems like in both college and pro,
they're more than ever.
I've seen more than ever, and I guess it's because the game is so wide open now, and the rules have changed where the offense clearly has an edge, and just some wacky stuff.
High short kick fielded by an up back at the 30-yard line with a lane to work with. And he takes it all the way out to midfield. James Story, reserve running back, returns that one. Great field position for Davidson.
Scott, you're a former kicker. Why do you do that?
Well, the goal is to get the ball outside the numbers, swarm all your people to one side, basically take away 3/4 of the field for the returner. But if you don't get enough guys over there to where they can't get blocked, then it kind of defeats the purpose. The kicker, I mean, I'm not going to pass judgment here on Arce Ramirez, who pooted that one pretty good, but you're also trying to get as much hang time as possible. That one might not have been up there long enough.
Okay, they've done it 3 times, and it hasn't worked yet. And one time it took
he
a
did
penalty.
kick it. He had one time.
Right, but it took a penalty to wipe out a big return.
Right, and then he also had a touchback one time. I would just kick it deep, but
right.
Who are we? We're not the coaches.
But they've tried that pooch kick 3 times, and all 3 times the returner has made a pretty nice return.
Yes.
And one of them.
Well, that might be one that they throw out here for the second half at least. 2-yard gain on first down for Wesley Duggar off the right side. They're into Jacksonville territory. Davidson has been in JAU territory twice today, have gotten no points out of it. A counter look this time, bouncing it back to the right side, Khalil Shaw, and he picks up 8 yards and a first down.
Well, JU is sort of daring Davidson to throw the ball, and you would think Davidson's got to be thinking, number one, the clock is one part of it. The other part is they're down 28-0.
Flag down here, David. This may be erasing that nice run.
Second quarter, we've seen the yellow hankies on the field. Well, it is going to erase it.
That'll go against the freshman left guard, Zion Johnson, who was pulling out in front. And I guess they'll say he just got his hands too far in or hung on too long to Harry Redormer, which...
Are you a believer that you could call holding on just about every snap?
I agree, and that would have been one of them that probably had little to no effect on the play, personally. But instead it'll move Davidson back to the other side of the 50, their own side, their own 41-yard line. Quick throw to the left side, going down to a knee to make the catch is Wicks, and they will rule that he was down on a knee when he made the catch at the 49-yard line.
And he thought there was somebody right on top of him. But, I'm from the school that if it's not a real bad penalty and it has no effect on the play, then leave the hanky in the pocket.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And, and you see more of that in basketball than anywhere else. There'll be some minor infraction on the other side of the court. Well, if it doesn't affect the play, let it go. The fans will come out here or watch on TV to see the officials throwing hankies.
3rd and 11 with a minute 20 and counting left to play in this first half. Phelps throws hard to the right side, but underthrows Jarvis Scott.
Phelps has thrown a couple of one-hoppers, and he needs to find out that that doesn't count.
And again, Davidson will punt. They have had, and that drive went, well, 4 plays, but one of them was a penalty, which is why they got that extra play. So that was technically the 5th time today that the 6th time, that Davidson has had a drive last 3 plays or less here in this first half. Fair catch made by C.J. Lewis back at his own 10-yard line. They'll give him the 11 on forward progress, I suppose. And with 1:05 left in the first half, does Jacksonville have one more scoring drive left in them, already leading by 4 touchdowns?
I wouldn't be surprised to see him take a knee, and get into the locker room. 28-0. You're backed up. The one thing you don't want to do is have some turnover. Try something cute and have it turn over on you. You would think Davidson. That's what Davidson's hoping for. I'm thinking they make it simple. Take a knee, hand it off, run up the middle. Who knows? Running up the middle, they could go a long way because they've had success.
That is very true.
They've been clearing them out pretty good.
And they will run it up the middle on first down with Jamal Adjuma, who runs right into the line, and the linebacker, George Hatalowicz, makes the stop.
Well, they'll have to run one more play. The last thing Adjuma's hearing just before that snap is, hold on to the ball, hold on to the ball.
Oh, he had 2 arms squeezing that one tight, didn't he, David?
Yeah, that was old school, wrap it up, and that'll be the case this time. And clearly, JU just wants to get into the halftime locker room. You'd almost think Wells may keep it himself this time, not to avoid the possibility of fumbling a handoff.
Well, they'll hand it off again up the middle. Punishing run for Irvin Riley. Ran over the first man he met in the hole. That was the linebacker Ben Hart, who, the senior from Hudson, Ohio, probably hasn't received too many shots like that in his career.
Yeah.
But Riley delivered a blow there, and that will do it for the first half of play.
And good for Riley, but also there's a situation you don't want to keep making an extra effort and the ball come out. So there's a time where you say, hey, just go down and let's get to the halftime.
A pretty good half it was for Jacksonville on offense. They were able to score after the slow start on 4 of their last 5 possessions, not counting that final one in which, of course, the half ran out on them and build out a 28-0 advantage at the break. Head coach Ian Shields has got to be feeling pretty good about his team's performance going into halftime as they have continued to play well in first halves this year. We're hoping to catch up with him down on the sidelines. Our sideline reporter, Sarah Wicks, trying to wrangle Coach Shields right now. And for Coach Shields, I can't imagine there's too much negative to focus on in this one. Jacksonville with a 28-0 lead at halftime, continuing first half dominance this year. And now we'll head down to the sideline where Sarah has caught up with head coach Ian Shields.
Coach Shields, going into this game, you said how it's sacred to play on the home field. You have a huge homecoming crowd right now. What do you want to prove to those fans?
Well, it's a great atmosphere. We're thankful everyone's out here, and our guys are doing their part, getting off to a fast start, giving them a show.
And now going into the second half with 2 quarters left to go, the Wildcats are going to come out hard. How do you plan to overpower them?
Well, we always tell our guys at halftime, either way, the scoreboard's a lie. We've got to re-center ourselves, come out, and we still haven't played a complete football game today. And that's our goal in this game, is to play a complete football game, and there's 2 quarters left to play.
Awesome. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
More college football after this.
Some moments can change everything. You can't always predict them, but you can game plan for them. For 150 years, generations of families have chosen Pacific Life for retirement and life insurance solutions to help them reach their goals. Being ready for wherever life leads. That's the power of Pacific. Ask a financial advisor about Pacific Life.
My car is making a funny noise.
What kind of noise?
Like a...
Hey, Rick, what's a...
Brakes are grinding.
Your brakes are grinding.
Quality parts, helpful people.
That's Napa know-how.
Welcome back to Jacksonville, Florida, where the Jacksonville Dolphins have built a 28-0 halftime advantage over the Davidson Wildcats. David Lamb, Scott Manzi back with you here. And David, this game feels similar, if you will. A very productive rushing first half for the Jacksonville Dolphins, who run for 252 yards in that first half. And Rylan Wells continuing to put on a show to help lead Jacksonville to this big lead.
Yeah, he's had a great first half. He's run for 115 yards, thrown for 85. That's 200 yards, and he's accounted for all 4 touchdowns. So the quarterback of Jacksonville having a spectacular game. The offense, the offense is being spectacular after a sluggish start. They finally figured things out, and they shredded Davidson.
Davidson 6 drives that lasted 3 plays or less, 5 3-and-outs, and an interception on the first play of a drive. For Jacksonville, obviously the defense is having their best outing of the year. Have not pitched a shutout this year, really haven't come close. But for Davidson, they're going to be searching for answers in this locker room.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the defense because we fall in love with offense, and the JU defense has been spectacular. You know, this year they've given up yards, but they've created turnovers, and we saw it happen again today. But this may be their best all-around games, half of football we've seen this year.
Jacksonville +2 in the turnover margin this afternoon with a takeaway via the INT and a fumble recovery. 28-0. Jacksonville on a homecoming Saturday and a warm October day here in Northeast Florida. Plenty to cheer about for the hometown Dolphin fans.
The running of the Bulldogs? Surprising. What's not surprising? How much money Aaliyah saved by switching to Geico.
Fresh mozzarella and pepperoni don't just belong on pizza. They also belong on a sandwich, which is basically pizza, plus a huge piece of chicken. Arby's, we have the meat.
Hi, I'm Sarah Wicks for JUDolphins.com. Here's what happened last week. Football hosted Guilford, winning 56-21. Coach Shields said a lot of the guys got playing time today. We emptied the bench, and that's healthy for the young guys. Volleyball remains unbeaten, winning all 3 sets against NJIT. Sophomore Mallory Mattingly was named ASUN Conference Player of the Week. Men's soccer hosted Georgia State and won 2-1. Women's soccer won their first ASUN Conference game against NJIT 2-0. Sophomore Danielle Henry put away a nice penalty kick, and senior captain Soap Akindoju scored a header in the second half. Sunday's game against USC Upstate was canceled and will be postponed. Up next, women's golf will host the Jacksonville Classic October 2nd and 3rd. Women's volleyball will compete against Bethune-Cookman at the UNF Arena October 3rd and play Kennesaw State Friday and Lipscomb Saturday. Football will host Davidson on Saturday.
A mighty wind blew night and day.
It stole the oak tree's leaves away,
and snapped its bough and pulled its bark,
until the oak was tired and stark.
But still the oak tree held its ground,
while other trees fell all around.
The weary wind gave up and spoke, how can you still be standing, oak?
The oak tree said, I know that you can break each branch of mine in 2. Carry each leaf away, shake my limbs, and make me sway.
But I have roots stretched in the earth, growing stronger since my birth. You'll never touch them, for you see, they are the deepest part of me.
Until today, I wasn't sure of just how much I could endure. But now I've found, with thanks to you, I'm stronger than I ever knew.
I love my mom. My mom. I love my kids. My kids. My job. Taking care of everybody, every day. My mom, my kids, my job. Yes. When I'm at work, when I'm at home. I could just really use some help sometimes.
Hey, we hear you. That's why AARP helps family caregivers with connections to experts and resources like our Prepare to Care Guide. Because we get it.
If you don't think this is right for me when you think AARP, then you don't know ARP.
Get your free guide at aarp.org/possibilities.
Award-winning interface. Award-winning design. Award-winning engine. The Volvo XC90, the most awarded luxury SUV of the century.
Jacksonville with a 28-0 halftime lead over the Davidson Wildcats. A slow start for both teams. In fact, a turnover on downs and a punt for Jacksonville on their first two series. But after they intercepted quarterback Tyler Phelps, one play later, a 45-yard touchdown for Rylan Wells, the first of 4 touchdowns he contributed today. 3 of those on the ground, 1 through the air. That was an 18-yard passing touchdown to Michon Sobers from Rylan Wells. The offense for Jacksonville certainly efficient. Not the same can be said for Davidson's offense. Phelps just 5 of 14 for 53 yards in the first half, and that INT. And we know that they have another quarterback on their roster in Stockton McGuire, a sophomore from Douglasville, Georgia, who has played a lot this season as well. I was told pregame this is Phelps' game, to win or to lose, but I do find myself curious as to whether or not they would consider making a change. Phelps considered the better passer, the freshman from Pensacola Beach, Florida, that is. We'll step aside. When we come back, we'll hear from Davidson head coach Paul Nichols.
College mascots are confident, but when it comes to mortgages, they're less confident. Fortunately, there's Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Apply simply, understand fully, mortgage confidently. Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans, proud supporter of college athletics.
Coach Nichols, you came to JU during homecoming week. What are you going to do to focus your men with some of these distractions out here?
Well, we got to focus on what we can control. You know, we can't really control the energy or all the hoopla surrounding what's going on outside. We just need to control what we can control.
Okay, and it's 28-0 going into the second half. How are you going to build up your men to come back at the Dolphins?
Well, I think the most important thing is we got to do a better job at taking care of football on offense, and defense we got to come up with a couple plays.
Cool, good luck. Thank you very much. Back to you, Scott.
Thank you, Ashton. That was head coach Paul Nichols. He said it. He needs to take a better care of the ball on offense, and then the defense needs to make a couple of plays. And after the strong start for the Davidson defense, it's been really all Jacksonville offense since then. And even when the Dolphins put the ball on the ground once, they were not able to get what would have been a crucial takeaway. There's a look at some of your first half stats, and it is as lopsided as the scoreboard would indicate in favor of the Jacksonville Dolphins. And if you're a Davidson team that is a little bit undermanned coming into the game already, David, you can't afford to give the ball away twice, especially on the road.
Yeah, they've got to protect the ball, and they've got to strike quick. I don't think they can try to grind it out. You don't have enough time. They're not going to shut JU out in the second half, I don't think. So they're going to have to come out and put the ball around. But you've got to take chances, but at the same time, you can't afford to turn over. That's not an enviable position to be in, but that's what happens when you're down 28-0. You're on the road against a team that is more talented than you are.
We'll see Trevor Smith for the first time today. He'll kick off to start the second half. He kicked 3 field goals a week ago against Marist, providing all the scoring for the Wildcats in their PFL opener a week ago at home.
Well, JU's been experimenting with the we're going the other way. I'll get that straight. I didn't say JU's been experimenting
with that pooch kick.
But I would imagine he's going to kick it as deep as he can and make JU go as far as they can. But JU's a better football team, and after that slow start that you had mentioned a while ago, it was almost like they were testing Davidson's defense out, and once they saw enough, they said, okay, and after that, they just totally controlled the game.
No return there for Lamar Washington, a touchback that bounced 8 yards deep into the end zone, so Jacksonville will start the second half leading 28-0 from their own 25-yard line, and here is the part in which Coach Shields, what he said going off the field at halftime. We'll see how well the players took to that message, the scoreboard is a lie.
Yeah, and by the way, we've been raving about JU's offense in the first half, and it was outstanding after that slow start. But I'm glad that at halftime you mentioned the defense, because this has been their best defensive performance. Davidson has scored some points this year, so this is a team that's gotten in the end zone, and JU has just.
Ball is on the ground on first down, and Jacksonville's Ryland Wells able to come back up with it. Just a mishandled exchange from center.
Did Coach Shields say that he thought Jacksonville got the message about being focused?
They'll lose a yard on first down. That certainly wasn't a focused play.
If
you get a mulligan.
If Shields had any hair, he would have pulled some out then.
Wells, pitch, Rattray to the corner, breaks a tackle, and it steps out of bounds across the 30-yard line. And that'll be a first down run for Purnell Rattray of 11 yards.
Keep in mind, this is a team that ran for 252 yards in the first half, and after losing 2 on the first play, they just pick up 12, so it continues.
Wells will again go under center. They'll try the dive play, and it's Simpson. Good to see him back out there after he left with that tweaked knee in the first half, dragging a man across the 40-yard line to the 41, a 5-yard pickup. And he is in what is almost a thankless role sometimes, David, that be-back, because you're just given the ball and it says, slam it into the line so we can free up the stuff on the outside. He's actually gotten quite a few big-time plays for himself today.
Oh, big-time plays. He's run for 92 yards, and the second half is just starting, so he's on the verge of having a spectacular game himself.
Here's a throw, and it's caught by Rattray into Davidson territory, and he's just tripped up around the 30-yard line, and he knows he was that close to a touchdown.
Well, he didn't know there was somebody right on his tail. I'm not suggesting that he wasn't running as hard as he could, but he was surprised when all of a sudden there was a hand on the back of his foot.
And he's a little gimpy as he heads to the sideline immediately. Jacksonville Rattray got hit with an unsportsmanlike penalty after the play.
What did he do?
I don't have any idea.
I was watching it, and I didn't see.
Nothing really stood out, certainly, on first watch. But what was a play that was going to move Jacksonville down to the 30-yard line, or inside of it.
Well, maybe.
Yeah, the 30-yard line bumps back to the 45 now, and the officials are certainly going to have to explain it to Coach Shields. I'm sure is just as confused as we are.
Well, maybe it must have been something he said. Could he have screamed,
Yeah, maybe he used a choice word.
I think he was surprised when he got.
The ball's on the ground again on a poor center exchange, and again Wells is just able to come up with it.
Well, we talked about the slow start in the first half. They're outdoing themselves. They being JU is outdoing themselves here at the start of the second half.
They've been very fortunate not to turn it over twice now on this drive. 2nd and 11. From the 46, hard count. A couple of Wildcats jump into the neutral zone, and we'll have flags coming in from everywhere you can throw them.
Well, the second half has started off shaky for both teams. Just
to say the
really,
least.
really sloppy play going on right now.
They're a little too concerned with who was named homecoming king and queen, I think.
The only thing I could imagine against Rattay is, like I said, he was surprised when he got caught, and maybe he screamed out some expletive.
One other thing, Dave, he spun the ball at the end, and I don't know if that's something that's considered a delay of game sometimes at some point, like he didn't hand the ball to the official, but like I said, I'm kind of guessing here.
Well, I know they will flag you for spinning the ball. I didn't think he was that
demonstrative about it.
Yeah, demonstrative. Thank you. It was a strange call.
Yeah.
And there's more to it than we know right now.
Well, that's sort of always the case,
I'm guessing it was language. You're surprised by something and you don't even realize it, and you scream out one of the no words. And
3rd down and short for Jacksonville. 3rd and 1. Dive play and enough for a first down. Jacksonville needed 1, and they got 2. Keenan Simpson takes it down inside the 35 to the 34.
That was an effort, yard gain right there. That's just playing hard and refusing to be stopped.
This will be the 8th play of the drive for Jacksonville to start the second half, in which they built out a 4-touchdown lead in the first, trying to keep the foot on the gas here as they work from the 34-yard line. Play action, Wells, all sorts of time, throws it back to the right side, has a man, Mitch Bailey, down to the 20.
Well, a lot of their passes have been go one way and throw it back across the field. That can be dangerous, but they're catching Davidson totally unaware of what's going on and basically making it easy pitch and catch plays.
That's a 14-yard gain and another first down for Jacksonville, who's picked up 4 first downs already on this drive. From the edge of the red zone, hand off to Simpson with another chunk of yards, 5 on first down to the 15.
That should put him over the 100-yard mark. So he now joins Rylan Wells with having passed 100 yards on the ground.
And 2 100-yard rushers for Jacksonville on the ball game. And for Simpson, that makes him, if I am correct on this, the 4th different Jacksonville player to rush for 100 yards this season. Double play action. Again, Wells, all sorts of time, throws to the front of the end zone, and it's broken up. A collision between Bailey and Nate Campbell down there at the 5-yard line.
But it was tipped, and so therefore it's a free ball. Anybody worried about whether or not there was pass interference? Pass interference goes out the window after the ball's tipped. It's just whoever can get to it and grab it.
3rd down and 5. Jacksonville not good on 3rd downs in this game, just 2 of 6. Option. And Riley loses the ball. It's still on the ground, and it's scooped up by Davidson's Thomas Sykes. And the first giveaway of the game for Jacksonville, ends a scoring chance to open up the second half.
Two drop snaps, a dropped pitch out, and a unsportsmanlike conduct penalty after a big gain. Shields has got to be pulling.
That was a roller coaster drive, if you will.
Well, it was a horrible drive, and it was a drive that just screamed, not focused, not lost your poise.
Well, when they ran plays, they gained yards. It's when the ball was actually exchanged cleanly is when the things were all right. First down handoff, Duggar to the right side. Duggar runs into his own man, stays on his feet. He's still on his feet across the 40-yard line, dragging Jacksonville defenders to the 45. What a run for Wesley Duggar on first down. And there's an injured Dolphin on the backside of the play.
Well, the Wildcats have got to be ecstatic right now. JU comes out looking horribly. Some of it caused by Davidson, some of it not. And then they come up and, big play there. So who knows, 28-0 in this day and age. It can change in a hurry.
21-yard rumble on first down. We'll step aside as they tend to the injured Dolphin on the field.
Now you can have everything. And your family can too. The 2017 Mitsubishi Outlander, one of America's safest crossovers, well equipped for under $24,000.
Jacksonville middle linebacker Trevor Tufano favoring his left arm on after that first play resulted in a first down run and an incompletion broken up intended for Jarris Scott that nearly had another 10 yards for Davidson, who picked up their 7th first down of the ball game, their first of the second half on a Wesley Duggar 21-yard run after the fumble, the first turnover of the game for Jacksonville.
Stefano may be JU's best defender, but he's clearly their inspiration, their leader, their, all of those things go into it. So he's a valuable man to have out.
Phelps completes at the 50-yard line, and Wicks is hammered to the ground by Thomas Oporto. Wicks did a pirouette, kind of slowed down himself, and Oporto made him pay.
Well, it looked like he looked like his knee had gone down. I think he thought it had.
Yeah, the official was very late on a whistle.
Yeah, or maybe he didn't think it touched the ground.
Yeah.
But whatever, he was punished.
I don't know. Tough to tell there. Third down and about 7, and Phelps is hit as he throws. It falls incomplete.
Well, Phelps is considered the better passer of the two Davidson quarterbacks. The other one is McGuire. What we've seen of Phelps, he has not thrown the ball well today.
No.
I'll take Coach Nichols' word that he is the better passer of the two.
Well, he came in 30 for 48 on the year passing, had 3 passing touchdowns, was averaging almost 100 yards through the air on the season, and he has really struggled here in this one. Phelps has completed just 6 passes today.
Well, he hasn't had a lot of zip on the ball, and he's been inaccurate.
Yes.
I mean, he's had several times he's had open receivers that he's just clearly missed.
He's 6 for 17.
That's not a good day. Now, let's watch here. JU has come close to blocking. Will they not make it? Well, here comes the outside man.
And a fair catch received by Wade Benton, the 23-yard line, where Jacksonville will take over on offense for the second time here in the second half, and they are hoping to erase some of the issues that plagued them in that first drive, in which they put the ball on the ground 3 times, finally turned it over on that third one, committed an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. All the while, they drove from their own 25 to the Davidson 15 and looked like they were going to prove it all for naught and scoring yet another touchdown.
And then it fell apart on the fumble. You may be right about why they're rugby kicking, because that was a very poor punt, and that was a standard punt, just didn't go anywhere.
Riley is stacked up by Hart and Hatalowicz. After just a short gainer to the right side, he takes it out to the 25-yard line, a gain of 2.
Simmons is back on the field. We've seen him go off, limping off. We've seen
Riley
Ajima,
just left that time.
And Riley was limping, and we've seen Ajima limp off.
And Rattray. So it's been a bit of a mash unit on the sideline for the Jacksonville backs today. Simpson, Rattray, and Washington back there right now. Wells to throw. Throws to the left side, and a catch made by Duke at the 35. Turns upfield and is dragged down from behind at the 42. A first down catch and run for Nick Duke on his first reception of the game.
Well, the way it's been going since the first quarter, as soon as I see any play by either team, I start looking for the yellow hankies, not on that play. And again, a fairly easy pitch and catch. Most of the time, when Wells has gone in one direction and thrown back across the field, the receiver's been wide open.
17-yard gain. First down and 10 for Jacksonville. Wells picking his way to the right side, and he's dragged down from behind on the play. They're just a short pickup. He got out to the 47-yard line, a gain of 5. It'll be 2nd and 5.
Sometimes it's hard to tell whether there was confusion or that was just a delayed run by the quarterback, but either way, it was a nice pickup, and now you put yourself in a very good 2nd and 5 situation.
Officials have blown this dead before we got to the line of scrimmage. I don't see a flag on the field.
I have looked for a flag. There is none on the field.
But
they're having a discussion about something.
That might be a clock issue. Clock was rolling that entire time. Now they're talking to Rylan Wells. Maybe this is something on Davidson? All right, now it looks like we're going to get an explanation. All right, so the play clocks are not functioning. And we're going to turn them off, and they're going to keep play clock time down on the field at this point.
Well, unless the game score gets tight, it won't be a big issue. The play clock obviously is really
Think about
important.
how fast they've been playing today, David. I'm not sure we've come close to a delay of game yet.
Nobody's been waiting. But, you don't want anything to malfunction. But no play clock in a fairly one-sided game is not a big deal.
2nd and 5. Toss play right side. Washington lowers his shoulder and drags Ben Hart down into Davidson territory to the 46-yard line. And that's enough for another first down.
Well, it's interesting that we talked to Coach Shields about his running back depth this week when you and I met with him, and we're getting the chance to see a full display of those running backs. And he said they all can play, they all can contribute. He's comfortable, was the word he used, with having any of them in.
Dive play to Simpson, and one of the few times today that has amounted to very little yardage. He still gets positive 2 yards on the play down to the 44.
He does say, by the way, Ajuma is the best overall back. He does everything at a pretty high level, and we're talking about running, pass protection, catching the ball.
And he's your best all-around back, David,
Right.
and they barely have even had to use him today. That's how deep they are.
Well, last week, the first 2 times he touched it, he went for touchdowns, wound up only carrying it 4 times all day.
Wells sobers at the 20. Sobers cuts inside the 15 and is finally dragged down by Campbell at the 14-yard line. Missed play in the secondary somewhere, left Michon Sobers wide open deep down the field.
Well, when you go back and look at that play, if you can, it's when they go in one direction and he's throwing across the field. And I think it's that Davidson is trying so hard to cover the edge against the option. But when they start going in one direction and throwing back, receivers have been wide open.
Wells to the end zone. Duke, did he hang on?
Touchdown.
Touchdown, Jacksonville. Nick Duke hauls it in. A strike from Rylan Wells.
Well, that's the advantage of having a 6'5" receiver. He ought to win a lot of the, jump balls that quarterbacks throw these days. Get it up in the air and let your man with a big reach advantage, height advantage, pull it in, and that's pretty much what we just saw right there as JU now is taking a 5-touchdown lead.
And that drive, much more what Coach Shields and the Jacksonville offensive staff, I'm sure, had in mind. A 30-yard pass play from Wells to Michon Sobers sets up the 14-yard touchdown pass to Nick Duke. It is all Jacksonville here this afternoon.
Heineken is served in 192 countries. It's world famous. Like me.
Where? Look!
It happens all the time.
He's ready.
Antonio Banderas! It's Antonio Banderas from the movies.
Enjoyed in 192 countries. There's more behind the star.
Michon Sobers, a 30-yard reception from Rylan Wells, and that set up the very next play where Nick Duke called in his first touchdown catch of the year. Jacksonville's wide receivers, they're all getting in on the action today. Duke, the 5th different receiver to catch a pass for Jacksonville. Michon Sobers having the best game of his young career. He's got 3 catches for over 70 yards now, and Jacksonville is having no trouble with Davidson, but another long kickoff return. And if there's something that Davidson has done consistently well today, it is that. They have set up in great field position all afternoon long thanks to long returns. Now, I think there's a penalty flag down because why wouldn't there be?
Well, they've done that 4 or 5 times now, and every time Davidson has been effective at returning it. Now, their penalties have bothered a couple of them.
Now, this is on the far sideline, David, away from where the return was. This could be a sideline warning, and that's exactly what it is.
I'm just confused. I'm old school. If I keep doing something and it's not successful, I quit doing it.
Yeah.
But that's what they choose to do. I'll certainly be interested in hearing Coach Shields explain that at some point.
Well, and a sideline interference called. I'm assuming that a referee straight up got tripped and went to the ground, because normally you see a sideline warning, and then after that it turns in, the second time it's actually called a penalty. But the great return took him out just shy of midfield, 15 yards onto the end of that, meaning that Davidson's going to start this at the 43-yard line of Jacksonville.
Well, certainly, Davidson, here we are with 6 minutes to go in the third quarter, down by 5 touchdowns.
You got to score and score quick.
Right. The game's probably out of reach, but it's certainly one they've got to have some plays.
Phelps to Scott, who drops it and pays the price. Iman Smith absolutely clobbered him, and he could not hang on. And now a flag comes in literally just a moment ago.
Well, you have to wonder about targeting. I couldn't see any targeting, but two guys hit the receiver, and he was hit up above the waist. How high above the waist, I don't know, but that's the only thing I could imagine, particularly when it's that late.
Of course, it's a unique situation here if this is indeed the call, because you can't just go to the monitor and review it.
Okay, he was not hitting the head.
Well, I don't know.
He was hitting the shoulder, from what I can tell, as you look right here.
Boy, that looks helmet to helmet to me, David.
Okay, well, I was thinking it looked like he got him in the shoulder. And, hey, that's the tough part of being an official.
Yep. And that means that he is not only out in this game, but he will be out for the first half of next week's game at Butler as well. We'll look at it one more time, but David, on a rule I think that is largely terrible, they got this one right.
Well, I just
and it's just you got to look at what you're hitting.
Okay, I thought he had his arm up, and that got him, but no, it got him.
Yeah, and that's why they tell you look at what you hit, because you're not likely to make that kind of a hit if you're keeping your head up in a play like that. So Smith is ejected for the targeting. Another 15-yard penalty despite the incomplete pass, and Davidson has parlayed a good return and 30 yards worth of penalties into great field position that they've now completed a pass to Wicks and moved all the way down to the red zone for the first time today.
And another self-inflicted error. JU has played very sloppy in this half.
Brown down to the 10-yard line, and that's close to another first down.
Well, if you're Davidson, you've got to score this time. JU has continually handed Davidson some good breaks, and they haven't been able to take advantage of it until maybe now.
And off Brown tries to cut it back to the left side. That one's strung out, and a flag comes in as well. Kason Wakely and Griffin Garland were the first two Dolphins there, and this was certainly in the realm of holding on Davidson. To say this game has been clean would be, well, it'd be an incorrect statement. There has been, really since the second quarter on, an extended amount of penalties, and a face mask, a personal foul face mask. So if Davidson can find a way to get into the end zone on just penalties alone, they're trying to do it here on this drive. Another look. And, yep, good call. Wakely got his hand across the right side and jerked Brown's helmet.
Well, JU is setting a record for being sloppy and just not playing well. Just making bad mistakes they shouldn't make. And I'm sure Coach Shields right now has got plenty of ammunition. Normally you don't want to chew out a team leading 35-0, but I think Shields will have no problem with that. And
Phelps to throw on 1st and goal, back of the end zone through the hands of the intended target, Satchel Moore.
Well,
and another flag comes in, this time in the back of the end zone.
I'm telling you, you blame the players, but also officials can get flag happy too.
They're excited for their time in the spotlight today.
Yeah, and maybe both players on both sides are losing their poise.
I
think he gave him for the shove on the Jacksonville player.
Now, you can literally commit a personal foul every time. Just keep going half the distance to the goal. You'll never actually get into the end zone. But Jacksonville is trying their best to make this as simple as possible for Davidson, and they're going to call Griffin Garland for at the tail end of this play. He's getting extracurricular.
Well, it's senseless.
He barely touched him, David.
I know that, and I'm sure
barely
Garland's going,
touched him.
But
that's a terrible call.
It is a terrible call, but you just, you've got to be smarter than that. Just don't do it. And you say, well, what did I do? Well, you touched him, and you knew he had dropped the ball. You knew he was out of bounds. And right now you're playing without any scope of any kind of poise or.
They get it down to the 1, and mercifully we ran a play without a flag. And now Duggar finishes it with a 1-yard touchdown plunge, and Davidson, on to say a penalty-aided drive would be probably underselling it, gets all the way down the field and scores for the first time today with 4:30 left to play in the third quarter.
Young Scott, I've been covering football a long time. I don't know that I've ever seen
that many 15-yard penalties on one drive?
A worse drive, than what we just witnessed.
Yeah,
that was.
I tried to track them myself. There were so many penalties, it was hard to note. I think it was only a 5-play drive. And they really only had 2 positive plays the entire drive, but the penalties on a very undisciplined drive for Jacksonville allow Wesley Duggar to punch it in, his 4th rushing touchdown of the year, and Davidson is on the board.
So how's that medical thing going?
Well, the doctor said...
Sorry, what?
I said the doctor told...
Excusez-moi?
The doctor said...
No more public pools for me! Snap into a Slim Jim! You and I had a fight recently.
Did I win?
No, I won, easily.
Doesn't sound right.
Hela, the goddess of death, has invaded Asgard. I'm going to stop her.
Alone?
Nope, I'm putting together a team. He's a fighter.
Has this team got a name?
Revengers.
Revengers?
We don't have to have a name. We could have no name.
Thor Ragnarok. Get tickets now.
Here's a look at some scores from around the Pioneer Football League today. Marist stepping out of league play, falling at Columbia in a Northeast battle. Butler with a shocker, blowing out Morehead State at the half. Campbell taking care of Valpo. Dayton and Drake knotted at 3, while Stetson leads Brown 17-7.
Ivy League schools, a couple of Ivy League schools playing Pioneer opponents, and one winning big and the other losing right now. So,
San Diego will be in action later on tonight as well. And here's an onside kick, a dribble kick, and I think he recovered it. We'll see where they really initially touched it, but Smith comes down with it. And now they're pointing it's going to be Jacksonville football. As Davidson is celebrating, the official just pointed and said it's Jacksonville ball, and it's all a matter of when he touched it. And I think this is going to have to be an illegal touching penalty if he did not recover it after 10 yards. But, boy, it was right there. Well, another look at it, David.
Well, didn't the official just then point in the other direction? I'm confused.
That looks like a clean recovery. And sure enough, now they have flipped the directions, and they've said, yes, it will be Davidson football. So this game has flipped on its nose a little bit. The score's still 28-point difference. It's not any point to start worrying yet, but for Jacksonville, you've got to start dotting your I's and crossing your T's again, because they have gotten very lackadaisical, and Davidson is making them pay.
I'd like to throw, though, a 25-yard don't know what I'm doing penalty against the officiating staff.
Well, I could go on a diatribe right now, and I will refrain for the sake of our listeners.
Well, that's because, see, you're a professional play-by-play man. I'm the color analyst, so I get to go crazy.
Shepard Smith on an end around, and he barrels his way into Jacksonville territory down to the 49.
I do think the officials have lost control of the game, and they're making mistakes. And one point's one way, the other point's the other way on that onside kick. Not a good look for the gentlemen wearing the zebra costumes.
Well, it's close to Halloween, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe they are just in costumes. Gain of 6 on first down for Davidson. We're trying to score back-to-back here, get right back into this game. Phelps will throw quickly to the left side, a low pass that is hauled in by Wicks at the 45-yard line, or just shy of it. It's going to be very close to a first down. They'll rule that it's third and less than a yard.
And wisely, Calvin Turner leaped over the guy on the ground so as not to touch him. Good call, but looked like he was going through the high hurdles.
The chain gang can't even get things right now, David. They're starting to take off like it's a first down. That ball is certainly a couple of inches shy of a first down. You can see it's not quite resting on the 45. They had to get exactly to the 45. Third and a couple of inches. Phelps hands it off. Brown runs into the line, just gets across the 45-yard line, and enough for a first down before Crandall Maines dragged him to the turf. And that will move the chains for the Wildcats as the clock rolls inside of 3.5 minutes left in the third quarter.
This game tape could be used as a training tape for the next Zebra seminar they have about what not to do.
First down and 10 for Davidson from the Jacksonville 44. Coming off of a touchdown drive and an onside kick recovery and another quick strike, and Shepard Smith drags men down inside the 30. Another first down for the Wildcats.
Get them low, wrap them up. But right now, Davidson, here's the way I judge the third quarter so far. The Zebras, Davidson, and Jacksonville.
All the way down to the 27-yard line. That's another first down of a 13-yard pickup.
Halen Brown, who's from this area, giving probably some family and friends here at the game a nice thrill.
Phelps, play action. Looking to throw, swings it out of the backfield to Shepard Smith, who dances a little bit before he is ushered out. Well covered that time by Jacksonville. Just a short pickup for the Wildcats on first down.
One thing we have not seen today by either team is much of a pass rush. When the quarterbacks have thrown the ball, now a lot of the times they've thrown the ball rolling one way or the other, but we haven't seen a lot of pressure put on the quarterbacks. And I guess when the quarterbacks run as often as they do now, you've got to be careful.
And another unsportsmanlike conduct penalty after the play assessed to Jacksonville.
Well,
and if you're Jacksonville, you got to call a timeout, and that's exactly what head coach Ian Shields is going to do. And figure out some way to get your guys on the same page as far as how to handle themselves as far as decorum is concerned out there.
We got to get them under control.
It is out of control right now.
Clearly there's a group of players that they're out of control, and something has to happen. I mean, I can't imagine Davidson making a comeback, but I'll tell you what, if any team's ever had a chance, right now the way it looks, what JU is just out of control and just handing Davidson some things. You can tell Coach Ian Shields, who's a fairly soft-spoken guy normally, I think there was some fanny chewing there, and I don't know how deep he feels like he can go with his bench on either side of the ball, but I might find out right now. I might get some of those the guys who they've lost control of their reasoning.
That's 5 personal fouls in the last 2 drives alone for Davidson against Jacksonville's defense.
Well, I don't remember of a team who had 5 in a ball game. That's a lot of personal fouls.
Yes, it is. From the 12-yard line. Handoff. Duggar tries to stretch it out to the right side. Well defended by Jacksonville. Tufano, good to see him back at the game for the Dolphins, was the first man there for Jacksonville, and it's actually a loss of 2 on the play back to the 14.
And from what we can tell, no flags on the field.
Boy, if you're trying to set a Guinness Book of World Records for the most personal fouls in a game, somebody look that one up for us.
In all seriousness, I mean, you got to get your composure back, and we're talking about intercollegiate athletics.
Phelps completes it at the 5, and Wicks turns into the end zone.
Get your composure back, although fundamentally you can forget how to play. But touchdown Davidson, the Wildcats now creep a little bit closer.
Jacksonville has given up back-to-back touchdown scores to the Wildcats here in the third quarter. A penalty-aided drive. They punch it in from 1 yard out. And then an onside kick recovery gives them an opportunity to drive down the field again. They go 55 yards in 7 plays this time, capped off with the 14-yard strike from Tyler Phelps to Will Wicks. And Jacksonville certainly has some soul-searching to do on the sideline. Davidson, the energy level has to be returned as they are back in this game trailing by just 3 scores late in the third, and they've just gotten 2 quick ones. And this was a great throw and catch.
Yeah. Now, it should have been a tackle there. It was a missed tackle. But I think JU right now has got to go down on the depth chart. Just find some guys who can be level-headed. You mentioned the 5 unsportsmanlike conduct penalties. That's 75 yards. That's almost as many yards as Davidson gained in the entire first half. So, I mean, that's unbelievable what we're witnessing here today, and it's just a loss of composure. I don't think there have been any cheap shots. We had Iman thrown out of the game because of a helmet-to-helmet. I don't think it was intentional targeting, but he did hit him helmet-to-helmet. So that call was a good call. But the others have just been
just
out
silly.
of frustration, silliness.
So I guess things the guys are saying or something along those lines. There's a couple former players on the sideline for Jacksonville, including Rolando Finez, who's now a coach at Sandalwood High School here in town, is part of a championship-winning team for Jacksonville as a player, the PFL, and coached the defensive line here for a season as well. But maybe he can have a word with some of these guys. High end-over-end kick that bounces into the end zone, and Jacksonville will have the ball on offense for the first time since they scored a touchdown over 10 minutes ago.
Well, it's been one of the strangest quarters that I've ever witnessed, and I think you echoed those sentiments. It's just about over. Clearly, it's one that JU would like to scratch from their memory bank.
Just the third time Jacksonville has had the ball on offense here in the second half. And they'll take over at their own 25-yard line with a minute 46 left in the third.
The offense should be fresh.
You'd hope so.
The offensive linemen should have gotten their legs back.
And maybe for Jacksonville, the offense can come out and bring a sense of sanity to this game again. Davidson, 14 unanswered points to climb back into this one here in the third. And the ball is on the ground again. Riley mishandling a handoff and loses it all the way back to the 20-yard line. And things have not cleaned up much for Jacksonville, even when they flip the sides of the field.
I'm telling you, it's like a poltergeist is running around out there. You know, hey, let's look at it from a Davidson perspective. The way this thing is going, almost anything is possible. And if you're Davidson, you're getting fired up. Guys, boom, boom, thank you, ma'am, and we can be right back in this ball game.
Play action for Wells. He's going to throw it to the right side, and Duke can't haul it in. It was a little bit wide of him, and then Woods was there to make contact with Duke as he reached behind him.
Well,
Third and 13.
Duke had to reach behind him, and Spears is right there at his feet, so he just sort of has to lunge. That was just an inaccurate pass by Wells.
And a rare one today.
Who hasn't made many mistakes today, but that pass was off target a little bit. So now 3rd and 13.
Third and 15,
Third and 15, excuse me.
Not too many in the playbook for this one. We'll see. There have not been many long third downs for Jacksonville today. Wells again will throw. He'll step up in the pocket. Deep down the left sideline. Jump ball. Mitch Bailey hauls it into Davidson territory. Down to the 44-yard line.
That's what's called a big-time catch there. Again, another jump ball. That's become a very popular thing that you do now in football. It's a fairly new thing, but you get a receiver you think is strong enough and big enough, you throw it up where both guys go after it, and you think your guy's going to win far more battles than the other guy. And look at that, off his feet, almost parallel to the ground by the time the ball actually went into his hands.
36 yards from Wells to Bailey, the 6'3", 200-pound sophomore from Deltona, using his entire frame there. Jacksonville's Keenan Simpson breaks some tackles down across the 35-yard line near the 30 before he's knocked down another first down for Jacksonville, this time on the ground.
Maybe a big-time play is what Jacksonville needed to sort of slap it in the face and get things straightened out. Now we've had back-to-back really good plays for Jacksonville. First really good things that have happened to the Dolphins in the second half. It's important right here for Davidson to stiffen up and play as well as they've played in this half so far. Stop them here, and again, college football has become a game of some big comebacks.
36-11 on back-to-back plays for a Jacksonville team that couldn't get out of its own way just a few moments ago. They lead by 21, and they head to the final quarter, trying to solidify that advantage.
Take the world by storm. suited up, ready, move it, running like a brand new Chevy. Yeah, running with the speed of a kid.
PlayStation.
It's homecoming weekend and the 20th anniversary of JU football. I'm here with President Tim Cost on the sidelines right now. What do you have to say about the ambience of the crowd?
Homecoming is one of the best days that we have. You've got this electric crowd, thousands of people here. You've got 500 student athletes. They're all celebrating the 97 team for football. Great women's lacrosse. I mean, it's the most exciting time of your homecoming. We're thrilled to have everybody here.
It's some great Dolphins pride.
There's a lot of Dolphin pride.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Back to you.
Thank you, Ashton. Yeah, President Kosk. I don't like the chance to honor, as they did, the original football team, the Valley Boys, they call them around here, which started this program back in 1998 with a win over these Davidson Wildcats. That's back when a lot of this stuff wasn't around here. They were playing on grass. There weren't any stands. We weren't in an air-conditioned press box, David. It was a lot different, certainly, back then.
Steve Gilbert, the first JU coach. And 8 years, was that 8 years that he was here?
I believe that's right, off the top of my head.
And then Kerwin Bell stepped in and led the Dolphins through some wonderful years. And now Coach Ian Shields in his second season coaching the Dolphins.
There was a offsides penalty, and then a run brought up a 2nd down and 1. And Pernell Rattray, we'll see if he got it or not on that run to the left side, delivered a devastating stiff arm in the process. But he did not have enough for the first. Didn't gain a yard on the play.
Yeah, I didn't think he got it. They kept pushing him wide.
So they'll try it again.
Well, now
he actually lost a yard on the play.
And now it's 3rd and 9.
No, 3rd and 2.
Well, I'm looking at the chains gang. Well, okay. I won't go there.
Fake the pitch. Wells rolling to his right. He flips it toward the end zone, and it's in and out of the hands of Sobers.
Who's had a big game, but clearly dropped that one. I guess. Well, I guess not much is going to go right for JU in the second half. It certainly hasn't so far.
And of course, the two big plays set up Jacksonville the start of this fourth quarter, and then they got a offsides penalty to start this drive as well. It's 4th and 2. They're going to keep the offense on the field. From the 25-yard line, need to get to the 23 of Davidson. Jacksonville on 4th downs today, 0 of 1.
And they haven't been very good on 3rd down. They have struggled in these situations. It'll be interesting to see what the play call is.
Wells pitches it, and it's batted away. Wells scoops it back up off the turf, but is tackled immediately by Bryce Perry Martin, and Davidson holds again.
I believe that's the 4th time in handing off of some variation, JU has had the ball hit the ground in the second half. That's pretty remarkable. You can go seasons and not have 4 situations. That ball was almost
just plucked out of the air.
Plucked out of the air, and had it been, it would have been 35-21. Because that had touchdown written all over it.
I think that was the end Thomas Sykes that got in there and got a hand on it. So from the 32-yard line.
Well, it's like a different Davidson team and a different Jacksonville team here in the second half. We're seeing almost nothing from either team that we saw in the first half.
Back to throw. Phelps over the middle, and it's broken up by Tefano as he tried to find the tight end Luthen.
And a good play. I mean, literally just big old lineman just reached up and slapped the ball down just inches from the receiver's hands. Just reached around him and swatted him like he was swatting a fly. Swatted a fly on the back porch of our old southern home. But big-time play there.
Ryland having a word with Coach Ian Shields.
I don't think Ryland's having much of a word.
That might be the other way, right?
I think Shields was having all the words because his jaw was just moving big time.
Handoff right up the middle on the draw play. It's Duggar who pounds his way out to the 35-yard line, a gain of 3. Mike Williams, who's having a nice day in the middle, stops him after another short gain. 3rd down and 7 for a Davidson team that has not been great on 3rd downs either. They've been even worse in Jacksonville. They're 1 of 9.
The middle of both JU lines of scrimmage have performed well today. Defensively, they pretty much stopped Davidson up the middle, and offensively, they've gained a lot of yards literally running between the tackles, between the guards even.
Davidson is just 90 yards rushing. Phelps throws, completes it to midfield. No, it's incomplete. Broken up by Lewis, but flags come flying in.
They're going to charge. They're going to.
That's going to be another targeting penalty, I believe.
And obviously, when I'm going to defend the officials just for 1 second. Live action, it is so hard.
Oh, that looks so violent.
I'm sitting here looking at it, and I can't tell you whether he hit him helmet to helmet or not. It's a tough call.
That's Pat Tabor, the Jacksonville product at wide receiver that was hammered by Lewis at the end of this. We'll slow it down for you. Now, that one, on the other hand.
Well, it's so hard to tell. It looked like my first glance is he got him up on the shoulder.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And
it looked like what they say. I mean, the rules or whatever is that you can't leave your feet, you can't launch, things like that. I mean, Lewis didn't leave his feet, went shoulder kind of right into from that replay. I mean, that's what we're looking at too. We're all looking at the same thing. That kind of got him the shoulder into the chest. So that's the second Jacksonville player to be disqualified for targeting here in the second half.
Well, one problem at this level, you can't go to the replay booth.
Now, what they will be able to do is replay them after the game and then determine whether or not the holdings stand up. But that doesn't have any. That doesn't help Jacksonville right now.
Davidson gets 15 yards and Jacksonville loses a player.
Yep.
If it turns out to be the wrong call, it's called tough luck. And that one, I'd have to see that again.
I'm inclined to think that just looked like a hard hit. Phelps under pressure, and he will be sacked. The first sack of the ball game, and Mike Williams one more time. The big fella making a statement today, his second sack of the season.
Well, what JU needs right now is for some individual to really step up and make some big-time plays. Mike Williams certainly did.
We're going to take another look at the targeting here one more time, David. Just one last look and slow it down for you. I mean, we don't have a backside angle, so we can't see where the helmets went. But that's what they used to call a hospital pass back in the day. Pass behind the intended target and incomplete that time for Davidson, and it's going to be 3rd and long.
Well, what I tried to look for, that last replay, you're right, we don't have the right angle. But at contact, I didn't see the head fly back. The head flew back. It was a split second, and it looked to me like he got him up high on the shoulders, and the head, it took it a split second before it moved. It's a very tough call. How you make that?
Especially when like we said, we don't have the benefit of just going to the monitor and checking to see whether or not it was correct.
And how the official makes that call, I don't know.
Phelps incomplete, and that one was just flat out dropped.
Well, maybe it's the field. Maybe it's and
another flag is down in the field. This time back in the backfield. It was dropped by Colin Hare, a reserve wide receiver. And Thomas Oporto is called for a roughing the passer. And it just keeps adding up. Jacksonville has now committed 13 penalties on the ball game for 142 yards.
Well, we're getting awfully close to me pointing a finger at the coaching staff. You've got to get your players under control, or you've got to get them out of the ball game. And this is getting ridiculous that, that kind of penalty. I don't know whether it was a good call or bad call.
Right.
But the bottom line is it seems like Jacksonville's players have lost all of their composure, and the coaches by this point, it's going on long enough. They should have it under control. And if that means sitting guys down, so be it.
Now, we didn't see a replay of that one, but you feel like they've lost the benefit of the doubt at this point. Complete out to the right side. Another flag comes in as Isaiah Anthony turns up the field. It's enough for a first down, but will it stand?
Or will there be additional yardage added to it?
Yeah, we don't know. But it has certainly been a day for the officials. The head ref is going to have to drink some tea with honey after this. He's been using his voice more than we have.
What's crazy is we saw none of this in the first half.
Well, none of this in the first quarter. It kind of picked up a little bit, I think, in the second quarter. But
we saw some penalties, but
right.
they weren't these kind of penalties.
And we'll go against Davidson. We'll repeat the down and move them back to the 42.
That second quarter, I guess there were 6 penalties, but I don't recall. I mean, they weren't personal fouls, and they weren't this kind of.
No, yeah. Now we're just seeing Well, we're seeing a little bit of everything.
We're seeing players who've lost their composure and lost their cool, and you shouldn't even be close enough to be charged with roughing the passer.
It's a hot, humid day out there, and it has certainly affected how these players are playing. Phelps steps up in the pocket, is hit, the ball is out, and it's plucked out of the air by Jacksonville's Dominique Mitchell.
That's a live ball because, like you said, I would assume they're going to call that a fumble recovery. I don't know whether his arm was headed forward or not. It might be an interception.
Well, for Jacksonville, they probably don't care. It just means that they have the ball back, and they will take control in the fourth, leading by 21. And fumble. Tyler Phelps hit in the backfield by Thomas Oporto, fumbles, and it's recovered by Dominique Mitchell. And on the first play, Jacksonville gives it to their workhorse this afternoon, Keenan Simpson, who continues to add to his career best day on the ground, well over 100 yards now for Simpson. The only thing he's missing is a touchdown. Here's another look at the play that flipped the script again for Jacksonville. Wow. That was Porter just absolutely crushed Phelps. And then Mitchell, credit him for being alert and snaring that ball out of the air. Jacksonville has forced a handful of turnovers in this game now, and they have had 2 fumble recoveries and an interception.
That looked closer to helmet than some of the plays that have been called for helmet to helmet.
Hand off to Simpson again, who took it into Davidson territory on his first carry.
And they are digging for the ball on defense.
And that's about their best bet, I think, at this point. He takes it just a little bit closer, down to the 43-yard line, and it is 3rd down and 1.
You know, stripping the ball is not something that is that old. I mean, for a long time, defensive coaches never taught that. It wasn't part of the game. You didn't think about it. But it is certainly part of the game now. And I think it's also a big factor in so many missed tackles.
Jacksonville is 40%, 4 of 10 on 3rd downs today. Wells will go under center. And that's the play call I would have had, too. Give it to Simpson, and he slams his way into the line, loses his helmet again, but gets a yard.
I don't think he made it. I happen to be looking my vantage point where I could look right down the line.
You're right.
And he did not make it, where I could see the linesman coming in making the mark.
Tough spot. They say he went forward about an inch. So he has got to lead the field for this play. With the helmet having come off in Jacksonville on another 4th down, they're 0 for 2 today on 4th down tries. And this is something that they take a lot of pride in, being able to convert on 4th and short with this type of offense. Coach Shields feels that the way they run it, they should be able to get a yard when they need a yard. And they're going to try one more time here today. Wells keeps it himself. Did he get it? I don't think so. Stacked up by the Boo Jordan, the D end. And they're spotting him short of the 1st down marker. And now they're going to call for a measurement. This is very, very close, and it really just depends on this spot.
He did not make it.
I mean, we are literally situated right at the sticks in our vantage point.
I'm able to look right down the sticks, Scotty, and he's going to be a couple of inches short, maybe a couple of feet, I should say.
He needed to get to the 41-yard line, or the 40. He needed to get to the 42-yard line. And he was on his way there and got pushed back.
Well, if he ever got there, he should be credited for that. But
no, 2 inches shy. And again, Davidson has stopped Jacksonville on 4th down.
Well, I was right the first time. I said a couple of inches. And then I said, well, nobody will believe I could see that well. So let's make it a couple of feet. It was a couple of inches short. But, hey, listen, Davidson deserves a lot of credit. Making a tough defensive stance. And now they've got good field position. They being the Wildcats. It's 9 minutes to go.
Jacksonville's possessions in the second half, David. Fumble, touchdown, turnover on downs, turnover on downs. And this is a team that was winning 28-0 at halftime and could do no wrong.
And they had 252 yards rushing at halftime.
Phelps is going to take a shot on first down. A little underthrow for Wicks, but he adjusts and hauls it in down at the 20. Remember, Jacksonville without 2 starters in the secondary due to targeting calls. They lost their starting free safety, Iman Smith, and a starting corner in C.J. Lewis. And they get all the way down to the 20-yard line there on a drive that started at the 42. Quick throw to the left side. Whistles blow the play dead. And it's going to be a false start on Davidson. Moved so fast they couldn't get set.
The big play, it was a good throw. And coverage was, JU's coverage was fine. And again, it was one of those 50-50 balls, and the Davidson receiver managed to get a little bit higher, was a little tougher than the Dolphins defender.
It was a 48-yard completion. And Phelps, all sorts of time. Maybe the best protection he's had all day. And this ball, not the best ball, but you give your guy a chance. And Wicks went up and earned it. 1st and 15 after the false start. Phelps, quick throw to the right side. And a diving catch is made down at the 15-yard line by Colin Hare.
Well, Phelps has not been accurate today. He was accurate on that long pass play, but and then
a quick throw to the left side, and that is, again, inaccurate as he tried to hook up with Connor Ritchie.
Yeah, either the receiver ran the wrong route or it was another inaccurate pass. I'm going to go with you. I think it was an inaccurate throw. So anyway, Mr. Phelps is struggling today, but hey, over 8 minutes to go.
Yeah. 3rd and 5, maybe a long 5.5. They need to get just inside the 10-yard line. Coach Simi, offensive line coach, associate head coach, having a word with his guys. Hey, guys, we got to be better, I'm sure is what he's saying.
Well, this has been a strange game in many ways, and it is not over yet.
Phelps will roll to his left. Has some time, throws underneath, and it's complete inside the 10. No, broken up. A hard hit from Tommy Mack, and you got to look around to see if flags come down at the end of it. None of them did. William Wicks could not hang on to the football.
And Mack is dinged up. He's limping. He's going to have to limp off the field.
He was dinged up last week, remember. There's a throw. I mean, this is Phelps puts it where it needs to be, settling down in the zone, maybe a little high. Wicks didn't even have that before he took the hit. A combo shot from Mo Flournoy and Tommy Mack. It's 4th down, and the offense stays on the field. Davidson realizes it needs a touchdown here. Phelps, under pressure, steps up, completes down inside the 5-yard line.
And I believe we have another targeting penalty.
Satchel Moore hauls it in, and another flag at the tail end of it.
And I believe it will be another targeting penalty, which would mean another Dolphin defensive.
Jacksonville might not have any DBs left when this is all said and done.
We'll have to look and see, but that one may be.
Nope, just pass interference called on Wakely, and the penalty was declined. Second time that Wakely's been flagged for PI in this game. And Phelps did a nice job standing in here. Redormer breathing down his neck, and Wakely got that left arm around a little early. And Garland got him with a shove at the end. 1st down and goal from the 2 for Davidson, who have dominated seemingly here in the second half. Handoff, Brown, who is not going to make it. Thomas Oporto with a great tackle in the backfield for no gain.
Well, the best thing about stopping them now, because eventually they're going to score, but you're eating up clock. And right now, JU, they just want to get this game over with.
Eventually they're going to score. May I remind you that Florida State once stopped Kansas from the 5-yard line going in on 8 consecutive plays back in the early 90s?
You've reminded me, and I appreciate it, and Davidson's going to score.
Well, it was worth a try.
Right, but the thing you want to do right now if you're JU, just get this game over with. They've completely lost whatever good mojo they had going, and right now it's kind of embarrassing, I would think, to JU the way their players have performed. You just want to get it over with. It's now a 2-score game.
Which is a shame because you want to enjoy a game like this. But
it
Davidson, credit them for an absolutely no-quit approach and taking advantage of opportunities. They could easily have been hit, taking all these penalties and all this stuff and done nothing with them, but they turned them in to 21 points. They trailed by just 2 scores with 7:15 left in the fourth quarter after Keelan Brown punches it in. Wildcats threatening here in the fourth. More than enough time. Here's a look at the Jacksonville schedule. They're leading in this one, trying to hold on. They travel to Butler next week, and then the major showdown would be San Diego at home in 2 weeks, when Jacksonville certainly hopes to be undefeated, facing what would likely be an undefeated San Diego team for an early, maybe deciding match as to who's going to have a chance to win the PFL this year, which seems like there's a good 4 to 5 teams that are all capable of maybe winning it.
Do you do another onside kick here?
7:15 left. Nope, they'll kick it deep. High and short, actually. Fielded by an up back, fair caught at the 28-yard line, and Jacksonville will take over there. Here's why maybe you don't try an onside kick, is because of the fact that you forced Jacksonville to turn it over on downs the last 2 times they've had the ball. Here's a look at Davidson's schedule. They'll stay in Florida next week and travel to DeLand to face a Stetson team that has really struggled this year before hosting a Dayton squad that is 0-2 in the PFL thus far this year.
Which is surprising.
Yeah, very surprising. They lost 2 combined PFL games the last 2 years.
Yeah, Dayton has got one of the better programs in the league, and but they're struggling right now in Pioneer League play.
Now we'll see if Jacksonville can put this game away. Looking for a drive on offense. And on first down from the 30-yard line, they hand it to Lamar Washington, who just gets a couple up the middle on first down.
And Davidson won the battle at the line of scrimmage on that play. They're the middle of their defense overpowered the middle of Jacksonville's offense, and therefore you've got a short 2-yard gain.
Well, they actually give them 4. He got all the way out to the 34-yard line.
Wow, I didn't see that.
Yeah, I didn't think he got that many either. A gain of 4, second down and 6.
Then we'll call it a push.
Wells, play action over the middle, and sitting down in the zone is Sobers. Sobers stumbling inside the 45-yard line, down to the 42, making amends for that earlier drop. And he continues a career afternoon taking the ball in the Wildcat territory.
Well, you're a kinder, gentler person than I am. I don't think it makes amends for that drop, but it helps. But Sobers he's had a good game.
He's had a very nice game. He's
had
got
the 1
5
drop.
catches now. He's got a touchdown. And he's done just a good job of finding holes in the zone.
Yeah, wide open. And, Wells almost threw it too low. Sometimes guys can be too open. Mm-hmm. And you almost sort of aim the ball. Or if you're the receiver, sometimes you're just thinking, you can't drop this one, stupid. And you wind up dropping it.
That was a 24-yard gain. Here's Rattray, slips a man in the backfield, carries it inside the 35-yard line. That should be enough for another first down or close to it.
Rattray made a nice move. The Wildcats had a defender out on the edge, could make that play, and then Rattray gave him a little hip fake, little juking. Got by him and managed to pick up a nice gain.
All right, they get down to the 33. That's a 9-yard gain. And, yeah, that was a great cut to avoid the safety, Steven Shank. Jacksonville's certainly content to let the clock bleed down as much as possible and keep the ball out of the hands of the Davidson offense, which has scored 21 unanswered points to get back into this one. Ball on the ground, and Davidson has recovered it. The Wildcats were in the backfield right when the ball was snapped, and they basically took it away from Keenan Simpson on the handoff. Another turnover for Jacksonville, the second of the second half, and Davidson gets it back.
You had the safety blitz, and he literally got there as the handoff was being made, as you were watching, and flipped it away. But incredible.
This was a unbelievably well-timed up play.
I mean, right there.
Simpson had no chance.
And, you could Davidson gets the credit for that.
Oh, yeah. Tony Collins was the man who came bursting through and caused the fumble. And the Wildcats, who have scored 21 unanswered, take over with 5:13 remaining. And, folks, this game is definitely not over. They'll start at their own 34-yard line.
I was just getting ready to say, if JU manages to punch this
Phelps completes just shy of midfield.
I was on the verge of saying if JU punches this one in, then the game will be over. And about that time, we had the strip and the fumble, and JU's just incredibly miserable second half continues.
15-yard gain to Pat Tabor. Phelps to throw again under some pressure. Just has to get rid of it, and it ends up low. Incomplete. Second down and 10 from the 49. Under 5 minutes to play. And Phelps has got into a bit of a rhythm passing here in the second half as well. That last pass notwithstanding, but that, I think, was more of a coverage pass. Here's a look at the strike to Pat Tabor over the middle.
And wisely, by the way, two defenders just totally let go of Phelps. They were right on his face as he was getting ready to throw it.
Phelps hammered as he releases that one, and it falls incomplete. Jacksonville blitzed the corner, Calvin Turner Jr., and Phelps, who bobbled the snap initially, just had to get rid of it as quick as he could.
I don't recall a blitz prior to that blitz.
Certainly not a blitz from a corner.
Right.
That is a first.
But I know earlier we had mentioned a couple of times we thought they might be blitzing, and they didn't. That time
it worked.
It worked very well. But on the play before that, two defenders just got right there as Phelps let it go. And instead of doing anything stupid, any little push or shove, they just both immediately slammed on the brakes, got their hands up.
3rd and 10. Phelps, I think he might have been touched as he released that one as well, and it's incomplete for Luthen.
He was hit, which obviously impacted the throw, so he can't be blamed for the inaccuracy there because he was getting hit. And I'm not sure that wasn't another blitz. All of a sudden, JU was saying, let's
we're going to send the house and make this freshman read defenses. And you're right, yeah. Again, brought more than Davidson can block. And it wasn't the blitzer that got home. It was Redormer, a normal rusher. But the Davidson offensive lineman had a hard time. 4th down and 10 with 4:41 left. And it feels like this is a big-time play. Another blitz picked up. Phelps down the seam, tipped away.
And obviously, the way this second half is going, the first thing you do is scour the field to see if there are any flags. And unless one comes out now, I haven't seen one. But as we've seen, the flags have come out immediately and after some delays. But that looks like no flag.
Really, since the first drive of the second half, the first drive for Jacksonville's defense in which they can say, oh, boy, that ball probably should have been intercepted by Wakely. Maybe that's why he was reacting the way he was at the end of that. Nice job for a guy who's been hit hard in pass coverage a couple of times today. But for Jacksonville's defense, you give up 1 first down, you don't commit any penalties on the drive, you get the ball back after just a 5-play drive. Finally, something to say, that was positive.
Well, they finally kept their composure and made some good plays.
Wells hands it off to Washington on the misdirection, and Washington is stacked up after a 1-yard pickup.
And I can't imagine, I don't want to say I can't imagine them throwing the ball, but throwing it's not something they want to do.
No.
Because they want the clock to continue, and both teams have all their timeouts. JU has no interest in using any of theirs, but I would think Davidson may be calling theirs here in the next minute or two.
It'll be interesting to see how the clock management works. It's 2nd down and 9 right now for Jacksonville. Pitch play to the left side, Rattray. And he barrels his way down inside the 45-yard line to the 44. That's a pickup of 4. And it'll be 3rd and 5. And in an area where Jacksonville has struggled today. They have not had a lot of long third downs, David, but they have not been good at converting them regardless. And hats off to the Davidson defense for really doing a nice job of stopping Jacksonville on third downs today. In fact, Jacksonville just 4 of 11.
What I think I do here is I try to give them the look that I'm going to throw the ball. I want to spread it out a little bit, and I want to keep the ball in Wells' hands on one of the option plays. But you've got to really sell the fact that, they don't give them that pass look. And they
dive play to Simpson, who just lowers his shoulder down to the 41-yard line. That's going to be about a yard or two shy of the first down.
Yeah, they've had success doing that, but I'm a little surprised they did it in this particular situation because I think that's what Davidson was anticipating, and it certainly looked like.
Of course, at this point, David, maybe it's just we're just doing what's safe. They put the ball on the ground so many times in the second half, and just trying to eliminate his mistakes as much as possible. They're going to bring the punting unit out onto the field and try and pin Davidson deep. They're not going to get the ball back, the Wildcats, until under 2.5 minutes left to play in this game.
Well, I think you were right, by the way, on your assessment. And the other thing, too, is if somebody just tuned in the last few minutes, they probably think we're overreacting because it's less than 2.5 minutes to go and you're up by 14, and you say, what's the big deal? But had they seen this half and how it's unfolded, you realize that the ball was moving. Davidson was gaining a lot of yardage with the clock not moving because they're called penalties.
So this time a roughing the kicker penalty is called on Davidson. And so Jacksonville will keep the ball on offense with the aid of a 15-yard penalty.
Well, that's
2 roughing the punter penalties in one game. Let's see if we can get another look at this one.
Well, I am a cynic, and I'm wondering if we're talking about
Number one, you got to know better as a punt rusher. I mean, you're supposed to approach at an angle, right, to where you go in front of the guy, not to where you'd ever run into him. Number two, Ryland, I tip my cap. You sell it a little bit.
Right, but he did run straight in.
But he ran straight into him. I mean, that's pretty inexcusable.
Right. Yeah, it's a blocking kicks is a game of angles, and it's certainly not just going right straight at the ball at the kicker.
So Jacksonville takes it down to the 26, has it on offense, and now with a couple of plays could potentially run this one out. Rattray stays on his feet after shedding a few tacklers. He enjoys that stiff arm, doesn't he?
Yeah, he went down like he was sitting on a small stool. It just sort of squatted and came right back up. But again, the idea is to keep the clock moving. Davidson not calling timeout. I almost get the sense that
I don't know. Yeah, they're letting it roll inside of 2 minutes now. That was a gain of 3 on first down, 2nd and 7. Wells is just going to take a shot for the end zone. Jump ball, Bailey trying to work back to the football and cannot work his way around the defender. Coverage by Ryan Woods on the play, and it was just a little too far underthrown. The Jacksonville sideline certainly wanted a flag.
Well, there's a lot of contact, but I'm a great believer in let them play. And as long as both sides are
which
fighting,
is ironic today.
Right, but if both sides are fighting for the ball.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Now, the one argument you can make was that did he let him get back to the football? And we'll take another look at whether or not Woods got his head around. He's battling. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I mean,
they're
they're
perfectly
both,
fine with that.
They're both trying to get the ball, and if anything.
But it wouldn't have shocked me one bit if they had thrown a flag there.
But Davidson had actually better position to make the play than Jacksonville did.
So it's 3rd down and 7.
And by the way, I think the Davidson coaches finally said,
"Yeah,
we put up a good fight, but it's over."
Rattray will be stopped shy of the 20-yard line.
And staying in bounds, of course.
He stayed in bounds. The clock will continue to run if Davidson does not use a timeout. But they, I believe, call one now. And we will step aside as well. Just under 1.5 minutes left. And a 4th down upcoming for Jacksonville, who lead by 14. Wells lofting it toward the end zone on 4th down, and it's broken up by Davidson. And they're going to get the ball back with 1:23 remaining, trailing by 14, but Jacksonville on a 4th down and 6 decided, let's see if we can't just put this thing away. But again, good coverage.
I thought what they might do there is make Davidson think they were going to pass it and try something on the ground. Again, passing it was the right play. But, just eat up more time, and maybe you break it. It's not exactly like you got to go the distance.
3rd time that Jacksonville has turned the ball over on downs here in the second half. Their last 4 drives. Turnover on downs, fumble, and turnover on downs. And if they win this game, it will truly be an escape with a victory.
Well, a marvelous first half. They run for 252 yards. They play turnover-free. I mean, they just
incomplete on first down as a Porto's blitz had Phelps just getting rid of it as quick as he could.
Yeah, that was almost a strange play. It looked like he threw it right at DePorto.
I figure maybe if you throw it right at him, he can't pick it off, right?
Well, I mean, he's only about a yard away from it, so that was a strange-looking play.
Time running thin now for Davidson with 1:19 left. You're trailing by 14. You need yards, and you need them in a hurry. And we've seen 2 big plays so far for them, but they have not been a big play offense. That one is complete. Inbounds to Will Wicks, who tries to get out of bounds, but Jacksonville does a good job keeping him in. Kason Wakely holding him up. And now Wicks is down on the sideline. And they're just going to drag him off the field. It might be cramping on that right hamstring. He's holding on to it. But it literally dragged him off the playing surface there.
For those who don't know, the offense, if an injured player, the offense loses
has to burn a
timeout.
Yeah. Wakely pressuring Phelps down the sideline, incomplete.
There's a situation where you can't fake an injury or fake anything
to
gain
get a free
an advantage
timeout
on the clock. They've got rules in place for that. So they literally were dragging him. Hey, Coach, it's my shoulder that's hurting me. The one you're dragging me by.
Now they're stretching him out on the sideline right now. It is 4th down and 4 for Davidson. From their own 28-yard line, it feels like this is kind of the last hope, if you will, for the Wildcats, because if they turn it over on downs here, Jacksonville will just be able to kneel out the clock. Wildcats over the middle, complete. Tabor bounces off a defender, still running and is knocked down out of bounds, and a flag comes in at the end of this one. And I think the Davidson sideline might have earned that flag.
Well, I'm going to wait and see. Again, you can imagine what disappointed me about that play for both sides. How do you miss that tackle?
Another look at it here. Initially complete with enough for a first down.
Okay.
And, Calvin Turner Jr. just throwing a shoulder into him.
To me, that's so disgusting. I've got to quit. I got to get rid of my hang-up about bad tackling.
And a late hit assessed to Cedric Wilcox III. Another. Oh, no, there was also a penalty on Davidson. Sorry, I spoke right over it, David. What did they call on Davidson?
Well, I was listening to you because I thought you were right. I'm not sure.
Well, they offset.
They do offset.
So there must have been two dead ball penalties.
Well, I'm just trying to see what the late hit is here.
I don't think this is a late hit. I mean, is it a bit of a dangerous hit? Unquestionably, but it was probably at the same time he's going out of bounds. Phelps tries to complete to Cam Chevrant, who goes to the ground and can't hang on inside the 30-yard line.
Well, I go back to that last play. I mean, what was the late hit? I mean, the defender is going, and he's already bent and falling. And, the receiver is bent and falling, and when they actually touch, they're out of bounds.
Like I said, I think that was the sideline earned it. I think they just, sometimes you can create enough of a fuss that the official kind of throws the flag on it.
Well, somebody who just tuned into the second half, I probably think
We've seen a lot of this in the second half.
Probably think we've lost our mind and have tried to make this way more dramatic than it is. That's certainly not the case on our part.
No, we're at a point in which the penalties are on both sides are just absurd.
Right, they've got both of us sort of just brain dead almost. I mean, clearly, Davidson's not going to win this game.
And that is a collision at the 40-yard line. Garland loses his helmet. Tabor, who's already been hit hard a couple of times today, is slow to get up. And there are no flags on that play. Tabor will make his way back to the sideline for Davidson.
I defy you to put your helmet on properly and have it come off. Unless the strap literally tears or one of the snap joints pops out. He's hit hard, I'll admit that.
Oh, it fell off when he came to the ground. Jeez. All right, from their own 40-yard line again, 3rd down and 15 with 26 seconds left. Phelps throws, completes it across the 45-yard line. Going up, Isaiah Anthony hauls it in inside of Jacksonville territory, and they're going to hurry up as they're down to the 42-yard line, but there is just seconds left. They need a touchdown. Phelps under pressure, rolls to his left, and he is brought down for a loss on the play, out of bounds. So the clock will stop with 8.8 seconds left, but barring a miracle, Davidson is not going to be able to score 2 touchdowns.
You know, there's a miracle, and then there's, I don't know what the next step is, because I don't think it's ever happened.
An act of God? I don't know.
I don't think if you took the Gators with their good fortune this year, and Michigan State beating Michigan a few years ago on the crazy blocked punt or drop punt or whatever, I don't think if you put them all in the blender that you would have enough for this.
An incomplete pass stops the clock with 5 seconds left. Final play of the game will be a 3rd down and 12, and Jacksonville's going to be victorious, David, but in a first half in which they built out a 28-0 lead, and it's just been a tale of 2 halves. The Dolphins in the second half have scored 1 touchdown. They led 35-0, and they've allowed Davidson to ride penalties and miscues and turnovers to 21 unanswered, which will fall short of their intended goal, obviously, today, as that will be the final play of the ball game.
JU gets an A in the first half and an F in the second half.
And that's basically as a simple and astute way as you can sum up this football game. For David Lamb, I am Scott Manzi, and our sideline reporters today, Sarah Wicks and Ashton Hiron. Our entire ESPN crew says thank you for watching as we put a wrap on it from Jacksonville, Florida, where the Jacksonville Dolphins prevail and move to 2-0 in the Pioneer Football League. Davidson falls to 2-3 overall and 0-2 in the PFL. 35-21 your final score on homecoming on a steamy day in Jacksonville, Florida. This has been a presentation of ESPN.